Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
It's a beautiful day along the banks of the Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, Paul Brown Stadium. 51 degrees today, and the Buccaneers don't have to worry about that cold weather hex, Yurko.
Yeah, not too good in cold weather. Under 40 degrees, they've never won a game, and it's above that 50-degree barometer. They're only 6-14 when it's under 50, but they're in safe territory.
And Tony Dungy ready to get his team going for that late surge. He's a December guy, 3-1 last year, 12-7, the career record for Tony Dungy in the month of December.
He's been hampered by slow starts with the Buccaneers, never able to get it done in September, October, but in the second half of the season, Tony Dungy and the troops, they've gotten it together, and they've won football games.
And you see Dick LeBeau taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the first time. As we get ready to kick, Martin Gramatica set to kick off. Deep for the Bengals is Curtis Keaton, and we're underway. Good kick by Gramatica into the end zone. Keaton will take it out from 3 yards deep. And he is tackled by Gooch up at the 25-yard line, a 28-yard return, and the Cincinnati Bengals offense takes the field, doing well in the running game, averaging 105 yards per game. Webb, Rayberg, Graham, Goff, and Anderson up front. It's Darnay Scott and Peter Warrick, the wide receivers. The All-Pro Corey Dillon, the running back. Lorenzo Neal is his fullback, and Tony McGee is the tight end. And John Kitna, number 3, starting at quarterback. Kitna throws the out route on the first play of the game. He connects with Darnay Scott. Buccaneers defense is rated 9th in the NFL, giving up just a shade under 300 yards a game. Rice, Sapp, McFarland, and Jones up front. The linebackers, Brooks, Duncan, and Shelton Quarles. And in the secondary, Rondé Barber and Brian Kelly are the corners. Dexter Jackson and the All-Pro John Lynch are the safeties. That's Corey Dillon coming up close to the first down. He'll be a couple yards short. Rondé Barber makes the tackle.
Corey Dillon
might have lost the ball on that play. Excuse me, John.
Yeah, he abruptly turned around after the tackle, and he was looking toward the ground. He breaks through the line. Good blocking up front. Breaks through the line, and Rondé Barber gets the hand in and strips him. Corey Dillon aware of the fact that he's dropped the ball. No other defenders inside. Dillon gets back on top.
Break for John Kitna and the Bengals there. Brings up a 3rd down and 1. Nick Williams in motion. They go with Dillon on the ground. Breaks one tackle, and Dillon gets the first down. He runs into Jamie Duncan.
A lot of their running today is going to come over Richmond Webb. He's the veteran. Here's Richmond on the left side. He's going to block out and kick out the block and create the room. Fullback goes up on Derek Brooks, and you see they're cutting off the pursuit of the Tampa defensive line, locking everybody inside, and they're just going to deal with the outside portion of the defense.
You see Webb, a 7-time Pro Bowl selection. 1st and 10, opening drive for the Bengals. They flip it outside, and Dillon can't find any room out on the perimeter. Shelton Quarles runs him out of bounds.
It's that little nifty option play that's been run around the league. You fake the fullback up into the middle, and you go out toward the outside. It doesn't fool the Buccaneer defense. Simeon Rice outside, fights off a block, helps make the play.
Simeon Rice made some headlines earlier this week in Tampa Bay. Isn't happy with the amount of play time he's getting. We'll talk more about that as we go on. 2nd down and 12. Kitna. Contact early, and the flag is down. Trying to hit Darnay Scott, and Rondé Barber hit Scott before the ball did.
Rondé Barber in coverage, trying to play and get to the ball and make the interception, but Darnay Scott gets in the way.
Pass interference, number 20. It's a 1st down.
Scott running his normal route. Rondé Barber has to go through Darnay Scott. And here you're just going to run a simple post pattern at about 10 yards. Rondé sees the quarterback make the commitment, but Darnay Scott has body presence, and he's in between the ball. His body is in between the ball and Rondé Barber.
Bengals into Buccaneer territory. Corey Dillon balls forward for a couple.
This plays right into the Cincinnati Bengals offensive goals. They want to be able to control the ball. They want to be able to run effectively, but the wide receivers have to catch the ball today, and they've been able to catch the ball early off, and Kitten has been accurate with their throws. They want no drop passes, and they want to be able to develop Corey Dillon, because once Corey Dillon runs successfully, the whole team gets pumped up and everybody gets all juiced up for the game.
Yeah, Dillon is definitely the motor for this football team. If he gets it going, the Bengals do well. 2nd down and 9. Toss. Brandon Bennett. And Bennett picks up just a couple. Shelton Quarles makes the play as there's a flag down, and it looks like it's one of those offsides calls against the defense, and indeed it is.
Cincinnati offense setting up. They've gone outside left. They've gone outside right. They've gone off tackle left. They've tried to go off tackle.
Number 78 defense is lined up in the neutral zone. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Marcus Jones.
And off tackle right side. So the Cincinnati Bengals offense is really setting it up. And take a look. Here's Marcus Jones. He's just lined up over the ball. His hand is down there on the line, but I'm sure that head has gone over and it's gone through that little neutral zone that the defensive lineman has to stay just short of.
2nd and 4 with the penalty. And Bennett stays in the game and breaks a tackle, and Brandon Bennett runs into Dexter Jackson, but he picks up a 1st down. 7 yards on the carry as the Bengals are going to the ground. 5 out of their 6 plays now have been on the turf.
Tackling, tackling, tackling. Bennett does this great spin move, gets into the action. He's a nice change of pace runner for when Corey Dillon gets tired. You bring in Bennett, and Bennett's been able to carry the load.
Bennett now with just 33 tackles, or excuse me, 33 carries on the season. And you see that play selection 5 times on the ground. And now play action. Kittner throws it outside, complete to Darnay Scott as Barber slipped on the play.
Darnay Scott takes him deep. He's threatening him deep. He's getting Rondé Barber in a conflict of assignment. Hey, do I get out of my back pedal? You see Darnay Scott, he's starting to press. He's eating up that void that was left. Cuts off, and Barber tries to make a cut. Slips on the turf. It was wet yesterday. There was a little bit of rain, but the field itself down earlier today, the field is fine. It has absorbed all the rain. And Barber, he's just got to get his feet under him and play with better technique.
They go to the ground, and it's Corey Dillon again. And you mentioned the rain. It rained here 3.5 inches this week, which is what they normally get for the entire month. But the field is in pretty good condition. As you say, you will see some guys slip. But this drive is no slip for the Bengals. This is the way they wanted to come out and start this football game.
Well, Warren Sapp has had a trouble getting his engine started in the first half of the season. Last 3 games, he's stepped up and he's played big. But it looks like somebody needs to go out and wake up the Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense, because they look a little lackadaisical early in the game.
They go to Corey Dillon, and Dillon slashes forward close to another 1st down to the 6-yard line. And you're right, it's difficult to come off of a Monday Night Football game on the road, come back home, and go on the road again.
You take it, Willie Anderson, Mike Goff, Rayberg, he's the backside of this. He's getting the hands into McFarland, and they're just cutting it backside. And Simeon Rice, he's got to sit and stay and hesitate a little bit before he comes down the line. But they're not touching the Bengal running backs, Corey Dillon and Bennett, until they're well into the linebacker, 2-3 yards deep onto the defensive side.
10th play of the drive for the Bengals. Buccaneers show blitz. And Corey Dillon, with the extra effort, is very close to the 1st down, as Jamie Duncan is there making the tackle, but with the extra effort, he may have gotten it.
Confidence, such an important key. They're going to rely on that offensive line. Goff and Anderson, Lorenzo Neal, one of the biggest fullbacks, best blocking fullbacks in the league. They're going to rely on the big guys to get it done inside. And Corey Dillon, he's going to take some defensive secondary people on. He's going to stick his head in there and get the first down.
John Lynch came up there, and nobody comes up like Lynch. But Corey Dillon bowled him right over and got the extra push to bring on this measurement.
Confidence, such an important role on a team. When you have confidence, everything seems to come a little bit easier. And right now, the Cincinnati Bengals, they're building that confidence.
And they got the first down, 1st and goal from the 4-yard line. And the Bengals have gone 7 quarters without punching it into the end zone. They were shut out last week, and they scored a first quarter touchdown against Tennessee, but haven't hit the end zone since then.
There's no better way to start a game off. The offense gets the ball. They put together a long drive. Your defense on the sideline, who's been carrying the team all year, watching the offense getting ready to put one into the end zone.
Corey Dillon cuts back, and Dillon stopped at the 1-yard line.
The drive put together, and we talked about earlier, the play selection, both run and pass. They're going outside left, outside right, off tackle left and right. They've really been able to spread the ball around which way they're going to run. There's no keys. There's nothing that a defense can sit and set on and say, hey, this is where they plan on going. Great offensive play calling.
They're getting it done on the ground. Dillon 8 carries this drive for 20 yards. It's 2nd down and goal. They toss it outside to Corey Dillon. And Dillon cannot get away.
Lorenzo Neal had the block on the perimeter. Corey Dillon, tremendous vision. There's Lorenzo Neal. He's going to come out and kick the perimeter man on the line of scrimmage. And he doesn't get Dexter Jackson. He doesn't get Dexter Jackson. Jackson trying to force it back inside. He's doing his job as the perimeter man. Corey Dillon looking inside, seeing nothing but Buccaneer defenders. He decides to stay outside, and he loses 5 yards.
3rd down and goal. Bengals 2 for 2 on 3rd downs in this drive. Kitna to the air, pump fake. Dumps it low underneath, incomplete, trying to hit the tight end McGee. It was Dexter Jackson with the coverage.
John Kitna, a lot of boos coming from the fans. The fans aren't happy with John Kitna. Got off to a great start. The Cincinnati Bengals 2-0 this year, but Kitna has bogged down in the offense. Here he pump fakes left, trying to draw safeties away, and goes to Tony McGee on the left side. Tony McGee can't come down with it's a poorly thrown ball. It's low. It bounces into Tony McGee. A tough ball for him to handle.
Neil Rackers has struggled. He's on the verge of losing his job. This one a 23-yarder, and Rackers gets off to Schneid. There's a flag down. You see what the flag is as Rackers makes the field goal. He was just 9 of 18, missed 2 last week in the wind up in Cleveland, and there was some thought that maybe he might be demoted this week. Jarrett Holmes they have on the practice squad, who's kicking well, and they thought maybe there would be a switch, but Dick LeBeau decided to stay with Rackers.
Rackers kicking at 50%. Most kickers in the league 75%. If you're kicking real well and you're one of the top guys, you're up at 80%. Neil Rackers at 50%. You can't have that.
There's no foul for leaping. Number 53 was legal because he was within 1 yard of line of scrimmage to begin with. The extra point is good. Timeout.
So the field goal stands, and the Cincinnati Bengals, an excellent opening drive, take a 3-0 lead over Tampa Bay.
Fox NFL Sunday, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL, official airline of Super Bowl 36.
The Cincinnati Bengals with a 3-0 lead here early on. Neil Rackers with that field goal, and you see his kickoffs. He hasn't fared very well in that department either, and he kicks this one to Frank Murphy, who is trying to break the longest active streak. 398 games the Buccaneers have gone without a return. This is a pooch kick, and Murphy just knocks the thing out of bounds.
You've got to be aware when you're on a kickoff return.
3-0 Cincinnati. Bucs with the ball. Question mark coming into the game was this Bengal offensive line. They put it together on that one. You look at the scoring drive, 13 plays, 70 yards, 10 of those plays on the ground.
And don't confuse yourself offensively, and Cincinnati didn't in that first drive. They put a hat on a hat. They said, we're going to establish the run. We're going to get Corey Dillon started. That's what Dick LeBeau wanted to see, and that's what he got. Even though it was only a field goal, his team has gained confidence.
Buccaneers start out at their own 22-yard line. Brad Johnson will hand this one off to Warwick Dunn, and Dunn picks up 3 onto the left side. Let's look at this Tampa Bay offense, averaging 302 yards a game. Walker, McDaniel, Christie, Coleman, and Wunsch up front. Green and Keyshawn Johnson are the receivers. Warwick Dunn and Mike Allstott in the backfield. David Moore is the tight end. And as mentioned, Brad Johnson in at quarterback. Johnson with a career record of 37 and 23 as a starter. We'll see his numbers for the season. Buccaneers keep it on the ground. Warwick Dunn with a move. Picks up another 4 yards off to that left side. Jawan Armour makes the tackle for the Bengals. Defense playing very well, ranked 10th in the NFL. The rookie Justin Smith up front with Tony Williams, Oliver Gibson, and Vaughn Booker. The linebackers, Spikes, Simmons, and Foley, an excellent group. Robert Bean makes the start today for the injured Artrell Hawkins. Roman the other corner. Jawan Armour and Corey Hall are the safeties for the Bengal defense. And it comes up with the first third down. It's a 3rd and 3. And Johnson empties the backfield. Bengals blitz. They dump it underneath, complete to Jaquez Green for the first down. Nice job by Brad Johnson recognizing that blitz and hitting the hot.
Yeah, too much space given to the wide receiver. Brad Johnson reading the off coverage. But here, the blitz pickup, you take a look. Most dangerous is inside. And Jeff Christie, Randall McDaniel, and Coleman, they pick up all the inside guys and let Brad Johnson get rid of the ball. You got to go from inside to outside. Make sure you secure the middle and let the outside blitzers come free.
First and 10, I formation. Keyshawn Johnson in motion. Play action. They tried to set up the screen and nowhere to go for Brad Johnson, and he's sacked. Oliver Gibson, his 5th sack of the, his 3rd sack of the season.
Try setting up the screen to Mike Allstott. The defensive line sniffs it out. Oliver Gibson, Tony Williams, they sniff it out. You take a look. Here they are right here. They're going to try to set up that screen to the right side. Johnson taking a look, but all of a sudden, Spikes, Simmons, they're out there on the spot. They sniffed it out in man coverage, and they bump right up into the running back and don't let the play develop. Brad Johnson should run out and dump that ball, not take the sack.
Big loss on the play. 2nd and 19, fumbled snap. And Johnson gets back on top of it as Justin Smith gets on top of him.
Not the way you want to start off offensively if you're a Buccaneer. Brad Johnson looking downfield, looking to read the blitzes, gets stepped on. Jeff Christie steps on him. His offensive guard got a little piece of him. He goes down. He has to recover. There it is, right there. He gets stepped on by Coleman, and Coleman just stepping deep inside, gets on Johnson. It's another wasted down, sets up a 3rd and 20 situation.
I thought he went down for the football. He got stepped on. You're right. 3rd and 22. And it looks like Brad Johnson ran out of time on the play clock.
That's the responsibility of the quarterback. The quarterback has to get his defensive line set. His offensive team set. You got to get up there, get the call in. You got to have enough time to get to the line of scrimmage and make an audible call if you have to. So that one falls directly on Brad Johnson's head.
Well, I tell you, somebody better give a wake-up call to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cincinnati came out the opening drive and rammed it down their throat, and now the Buccaneer offense comes out, and they are stuck in reverse. 3rd and 27 in their opening drive. Johnson picked off. That's Hall. Excuse me, Chris Carter. 26-yard return on the interception by Carter.
It's a flag on the play.
Carter intercepted one last week against Cleveland. This will be 2 weeks in a row if it stands.
Called a defensive holding on the Cincinnati Bengals. It's going to be 5 yards.
Number 34 defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's an automatic first down.
Kaesvaharn.
It's a third
with the penalty.
Yeah, 3rd down and 22 situation. See Kaesvaharn just in there in coverage. Now Keyshawn makes the move and he latches his arm around there. In a 3rd down and 22 situation, give him room and give him space. You don't need to be touching him all the way down the field. The official had to make that call, but what a terrible play on Kaesvaharn's part. 3rd and 22, give him space, give him room, break up when the ball is thrown. Not only that, but he takes an interception away from his team. Brad Johnson said they were walking into a hornet's nest here in Cincinnati, and so far he's been proved correct.
Well, that bad play by Kaesvaharn gives the Buccaneers offense new life. 1st and 10 at their own 25. Blitz comes. And Ward Dunn can't avoid the first wave. That's Glenn Steele making the tackle.
Glenn Steele coming up the backside. It's a little zone run play. They're trying to set it up to come all the way to the backside, but Glenn Steele with too much penetration makes it happen.
It'll be the 7th play of this drive for the Buccaneers, but they haven't gone anywhere. Spinning their wheels. Quick slant. That one's complete to Jaquez Green. And right now, for a game break, let's go to JB in Los Angeles.
Ray and John, keep the name Phil Luckett in mind. Take a look at the flea flicker here. Aaron Brooks going for a wide open Joe Horn. But guess who's there? The back judge. What's his name? Luckett. He had the coin toss controversy 2 years ago. Didn't want to be a referee because of that. He still can't avoid the spotlight. Back to Ray and John.
That poor guy. He's got a cloud over him.
Yeah, the officials are part of the field, though.
Big part of the field on that play. 3rd and 3, and Johnson nowhere to go on the 3-step. Now he throws it outside, and that's complete to the tight end, Dave Moore, for the first down. That was a nice job by Brad Johnson of staying with things.
It's Renard Wilson who's on the perimeter. It's the stand. Keyshawn Johnson setting up against Kaesvaharn. We saw the defensive holding earlier. He's running that little slant, little shake and bake slant in the middle. He was open early, then he tries to get downfield, but he's not open, so they end up taking it out to David Moore, the tight end, just beyond the first down marker. But Renard Wilson was rushing off the perimeter. Don't leave your feet as a rusher. Stay on the ground.
Allstott in the tailback position on 1st and 10. Offsides Bengals. Jawan Armour makes the tackle, but there are flags down. Tom White trying to get the number.
Offsides. Number 94 defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
And Tony Williams. Another penalty for the Bengals on this drive.
Trying to anticipate the snap to get a little advantage. He's going against Randall McDaniel. Well, he's been to a number of Pro Bowlers, so he's trying to get that advantage. But a little bit too jumpy right there. Brad Johnson gets him with the voice inflection.
1st down and 5 after the penalty. Ward Dunn back in the ball game. He takes the handoff. And Dunn will be chased outside. And he'll be run out of bounds by Corey Hall.
Cincinnati has to like the way they've been able to play today. Offensively, they get a lot of momentum early, a lot of confidence. Defensively, they're coming out and they're fighting, and I don't think the Monday night effect for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers we haven't mentioned yet, but you go play a Monday night game, an emotional victory on the road, you go back on the road with a short week. I think that's having an effect early on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
10th play of this drive for Tampa Bay. And Johnson dumps it underneath, complete to Cook, and Cook will be about a yard shy of the first down, and that is the end of the first quarter with the score. Cincinnati 3, Tampa Bay nothing. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Coming up next in the second part of our doubleheader, Marshall Faulk and the high-powered Rams will look to rebound from last week's loss to the Bucs when they take on Chris Chandler and a Falcons team trying to stay in the playoff race. A full day of NFL action continues next on Fox. And you see Atlanta and Washington have had the hot hand of late. And that one looked like the fumbled snap that I had called earlier as Brad Johnson had to just fall on the football.
Tampa
actually, excuse me, it was a quarterback sneak. They're going the other way now.
Tampa. On this drive, the 11 plays, only 25 yards. 4 of those for negative yardage, 2 sacks. Warwick Dunn brought down in the backfield, but they've gone nowhere. They've had the ball for a lot of plays, but they haven't been able to move the ball up the field.
11 plays and just 25 yards covered. They run the trap. Warwick Dunn gets it up to midfield. Right now, let's get it out to Los Angeles. Here's JB.
Hey, Ray and John, after a little bit of help from Phil Luckett on that incomplete pass, Carolina, 7 plays, 80 yards, capping it with the quarterback draw by Chris Winkie. His 4th rushing touchdown of the season, and it's 7-0 Carolina over Nolans. Back to Ray and John Yurkovich.
That's a tough division right there, Yurko.
A lot of competition, top 4 teams all vying for the playoffs. New Orleans didn't expect to see them at 5-5, thought they'd have a better record, but Atlanta's fought its way back with 3 straight victories.
Johnson outside, connects with Green, and he gets close to the first down.
It's the patience of Brad Johnson finding his people that make him effective.
Let's take a look at these first quarter stats, and they are skewed in the side of the Cincinnati Bengals with the 3-0 lead.
You see the Bengal commitment to the running game. They've got 23 yards early, making a commitment, trying to get the run established.
Jawan Armour is injured on the field, and we'll take an injury timeout. 3-0 Cincinnati.
Jawan Armour gets dinged up here, making the tackle on Jaquez Green. Big old Wunchy comes down, gives him a shot right on the helmet, causing the injury. He's on the sidelines.
First down on that play, 1st and 10 Buccaneers. And Brad Johnson hits his 6th consecutive pass. Jaquez Green makes another catch, and that's the 4th catch on the day for Green.
It's great patience out of Brad Johnson. You can tell he's going to go with what the defense is going to give him. And right now they're giving him those short patterns to the perimeter. They're dropping back in a cover 3 and a deep 3. And Jaquez Green has 4 catches. Cook and Moore, tight end and a fullback. No receptions by the outside, by Keyshawn Johnson.
15th play of the drive in Tampa Bay, and it's a run with Warwick Dunn. Dunn spins around and picks up 5 yards. And this is just the 2nd drive of the ball game, and it's been 2 very long drives, and this one is featuring Warwick Dunn on the ground. 6 carries, 11 yards for Dunn.
And Warwick Dunn, one of the most exciting running backs in the league. He's out of Florida State. When he came in, everybody thought, boy, this guy's not big enough to play. He's not durable, but he's proved over the course of his career that he could step in there and make big plays and rush for good yards.
Keyshawn Johnson in motion. He comes underneath, and it's the tight end who makes the catch. There's a flag down as Tony Williams, dropping out in a fire zone, put the hit on the tight end, Moore.
And referee Tom White signaled illegal use of the hands.
Holding, number 71 offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
It's actually Mike Allstott who made that catch and took the big hit. Let's take a listen to it. pretty good hit from Tony Williams out there playing in space.
Yeah, Tony Williams didn't get much of a pass. He starts dropping back in that zone drop, and all of a sudden Alstott's in front of him, and he lays the wood to him.
2nd and 16. Johnson throws it outside, and that is complete to Jaquez Green. 15 yards on the play as Green was working on Mark Roman.
Brad Johnson drops back. He's got all day to sit and peruse the field. Looks down at his reads, finds his #1 receiver down, takes a look, and he hits him. And Roman just off in coverage. He can't find him. Jaquez Green, the #1 receiver today, catches his 5th ball. But Roman nowhere to be found. He's given too much cushion. The Bengals need to tighten that defense up, and they need to find a way to get that football back.
11 minutes and counting left here in the second quarter. It's still the opening drive for Tampa Bay, and they take their first timeout. We'll take one as well. Bengals up 3-0. Bucks driving. 3-0 Cincinnati. It's just the second drive of the ball game. The 17th play of the drive for Tampa Bay. A 3rd down and 2. And Johnson tries the quarterback sneak, and he doesn't get it. Oliver Gibson shoots the gap.
Oliver Gibson shot the gap. Looked like he was offsides. He was so quick. He anticipated the snap count. And he anticipated it right because he got through it before Johnson could get started. He was in there right here on the nose tackle, but Christian Coleman. And there he is. Coleman just sat there. That's one of those plays where Johnson comes up and gives the center a little goose, and the rest of the offensive linemen aren't aware of it. Johnson takes the ball and thinks he can get the quarterback sneak. Well, Oliver Gibson was paying attention, and he saw that goose, and he made the play.
Yeah, Christie moved a little early, and now Martin Gramatica comes on to attempt the 43-yard field goal. And he leaves it out wide right. So after a 17-play drive, the Buccaneers come up empty. Gramatica misses from 43 yards. And with 10:35 left, Bengals up 3-0. Martin Gramatica very lonely on the end of the bench. He's hit just one of his last 4 field goals. That drive, 18 plays. The 11 minutes and 15 seconds is the longest drive in Buccaneer history. Came up with no points as Kitna is hit immediately by Steve White. His pass goes incomplete, intended for Lorenzo Neal. Let's go back to that Gramatica kick.
Martin Gramatica, he lined up for this kick. He's lined up fine, but he just kind of wants to pooch it through. He doesn't really give it a great shot. Pushes it to the right. The football had no draw on it and didn't come back. And there you could say he's feeling the pressure and he's feeling the guys come in on him. But against St. Louis, he duck hooked one, and I think he's afraid of duck hooking another football.
2nd and 10 for the Bengals, their second drive of the day. Corey Dillon runs into Quarles and pushes forward for about 3 yards. Let's push it out to Los Angeles. For an update, here's JB.
All right, let's take a look at Detroit trying its best to get its first victory of the season, capitalizing on the 10-play, 95-yard drive with that 3-yard run by James Stewart. Detroit is up by 7. Back to Ray Bentley and Johnny Yurkovich.
Thank you, JB. And you see Detroit trying to slay Chicago today, and boy, they've lost what, 7 games in a row now by 8 points or less. Amazing dry spell for the Lions. As Kitman is going to be sacked on this one. Simeon Rice coming around the corner. Rice gets his 4th sack of the season.
Simeon Rice just around the edge on Richmond Webb. So he's down here all the way on the bottom. He's working with Warren Sapp. Simeon just going out around the perimeter, puts the arms down. Kitna has to step up. If Kitna doesn't step up, Richmond Webb thinks he's fine. He's just going to push him around the perimeter.
And Warren Sapp collapsed on his way off the football field.
It's not a good sign if you're a Tampa Bay Buck fan. See your big guy, your main horse in the middle, Warren Sapp. Did he faint? I mean,
I don't know. He took a knee over there. Went to the knee.
Trying to get his bearings straight.
Carl Williams back to receive the punt. Nick Harris averaging 41.3 yards a kick for Cincinnati. blocked. Rondé Barber blocks it. And it's picked up, and that'll be a touchdown for the Buccaneers. Todd Yoder.
Rondé Barber came off the left side. He was unencumbered. Nobody touched him. Rondé Barber's done this before in the past. Joe Marciano and the special teams for the Tampa Bay Bucs. They've been able to block punts before. You see Barber coming off on the top side here. Here he is. He sneaks in as a creeper. He comes in from the outside gunners. Nobody touches him. Nobody pays attention to him. He blocks the punt. Yoder picks it up, takes it into the end zone. The Tampa Bay Bucs were looking for a way to jumpstart their team and jumpstart their offense. Well, here it is, a great special teams play.
Gramatica adds the extra point, and Tampa Bay has awoken. They get on the board, 7-3. Tampa Bay over Cincinnati. And special teams get it done. Todd Yoder, his first career touchdown. Got it in an unconventional fashion. Picked up the blocked punt and took it 11 yards into the end zone. Rondé Barber is the man who blocked that punt. Gramatica kicks this one to the corner, and Brandon Bennett picks it up for the return and runs into his own man, and he gets it out to the 25-yard line. A 14-yard return for Bennett. But the special teams have gotten the Buccaneers with the lead.
On that punt, Bennett is supposed to pick up Rondé Barber. Barber comes free, gets to the block point, and he makes the block. Bennett starts to head out, but he stops. And he comes back in, and he picks up an inside rusher. Barber gets it. Yoder picks it up. Take a look here. Case Vaharn is screaming, creeper, creeper, creeper. And there's Rondé Barber coming in. The way he gets in there, and he'll go for the block on the snap. They accounted for everything.
Yeah, and there's Corey Dillon running there. But what should happen is Harris should see that, catch the snap, and throw it out to Case Vaharn, and it's an easy go for the Bengals. That's a built-in audible that most teams have on special teams when you get that creeper call. But with a rookie punter, Nick Harris, I don't know if he just didn't have the guts to make the call or what, but he let that thing go, and that's what caused the problem.
He didn't have the moxie. And the Tampa Bay Bucs, they had a coverage guy coming out real late, so they didn't show that they were coming with the blitz with Rondé Barber.
Nice special teams play by the Buccaneers. Corey Dillon, who's been on the bench for quite some time, picks up a couple yards, and right now, let's pick up a couple, head out to Los Angeles. Here's JB.
And picking up at least one, Ray, is Jerome Bettis, capping a 10-play, 68-yard drive. Jerome Bettis now with 1,000 yards rushing for his 6th straight season, 8th overall. Pittsburgh on top by 4. Back to Ray and John.
Thank you, JB. And you see the couple of guys that are getting it done. How about Cordell Stewart? Has he matured into an excellent quarterback?
A lot of people giving up on him around the league, but Stewart's proving them all wrong. Randy Moss, boy, he needs to be a little bit more disciplined and run his routes to completion.
You're right about that. As Kitna on 3rd down goes from a shotgun and shoots it across the middle, and that is complete to Chad Johnson for 12 yards and a 1st down. Johnson missed 4 games earlier with a broken collarbone, made his return last week against Cleveland, and he was a hot receiver before he got hurt. Had caught 10 passes within 2 games.
And the offensive line doing a nice job of protection. You take a look, there's Warren Sapp lined up in that 4-eye over top of the tackle, and they just collapse it all down. Nobody finding any room, and Kitna he's going to find his space, areas that he can throw the ball without hands in front of his eyes.
John Kitna 3 of 5 for 37 yards. They hand it off to Corey Dillon, and Dillon breaks to the right side for 4 yards. And got a little Johnson & Johnson story for you. Keyshawn Johnson and Chad Johnson, cousins.
One from Liberty City, the other one from South Central. 2 guys, they're cousins. Keyshawn brought his cousin out to California, let him train, helped him out a little bit. Because needless to say, you got to have finances if you're going to train properly. And these 2 guys, they get along. They're best friends. They talk to each other. They make sure they support each other. And Keyshawn looking for Chad to be successful.
Somebody needs to talk to Darnay Scott as he drops the Kitna pass for a would-be 1st down. Brings up 3rd down and 6 now.
That's one thing Kitna talked about, was the fact too many drop balls, young receivers making too many mistakes, and repeating those mistakes. Kitna would like to be able to fire the ball out and have the guys hold on to it. You can't play wide receiver in this league if you can't hold on to the football. Kitna would like to see some accountability out of his wide receivers. Catch the ball, don't make the same mistake twice.
And it's 3 of 5 on third down conversions. Blitz comes. Kitna whips it outside to Ward, but he's going to be short of the first down.
Tampa Bay brings the big blitz up in the middle.
You know, I think Kitna had time. He kind of panicked and just whipped it out there.
Hey, he did panic, and the blitzer was coming unencumbered here. They're so concerned with what's happening with the defensive line, Warren, Sapp, McFarland, White, what's happening, that once he saw that blitz break through, he just wanted to get it out and not take the sack.
Harris gets this punt away. It's not blocked this time. Carl Williams with a fair catch, and he makes that catch at the 18-yard line. So the Buccaneers with the lead will get the football back. And the Buccaneers with just their second possession on offense. The first time they had it for 18 plays and didn't score. Now Keyshawn Johnson makes his first reception of the game. They throw him out there one-on-one against Robert Bean.
Bean positions himself outside, lines up Keyshawn on his inside shoulder, and makes the play, forcing him back inside. If he misses, the pursuit of the Cincinnati Bengals defense will make the tackle for him.
And Brad Johnson, perfect on the day, 8 for 8 for 63 yards. He goes to the air again and dumps it off to Allstott. And Allstott with a block from Keyshawn makes it up, picks up the first down. Juwan Armour runs Allstott out of bounds, gain of 12. And Johnson goes to 9 for 9.
Brad Johnson finding his receivers all over the field to open. Here's Justin Smith. He's the rookie from Missouri, the first-round draft choice. He puts a shot on the tight end, then he comes back out in coverage, but he took himself to the wrong area. He should have buzzed out to the flat where Allstott's at. Instead, he dropped in to the hook area where he had 2 other Bengal defenders. He needed to come out to the flat.
It's hard for the rookie defensive lineman to get pass coverage down. Keyshawn Johnson makes his second grab of this series, and Justin Smith, we had a nice opportunity to talk with him, and I tell you, the line coach Tim Crumry is beside himself over Justin Smith. He said the guy's got an incredible motor, and you don't realize the strength he has. I mean, the guys look at him, oh, he's only 268 pounds. I'm going to have a field day. I'm going to push him around. Not quite.
He's intense. He's maniacal. He brings the right attitude onto the field. And you take a look, he's power cleaning 500 pounds, bench pressing 530, and he puts the big weight up on the squat. He's a strong individual.
Foley on the blitz. Keyshawn Johnson with the reception. Nice job by Brad Johnson of seeing the blitz and throwing in behind Steve Foley and connecting with Keyshawn for the first down.
Simple throws, short patterns. Here's Justin Smith up against Kenyatta Walker, the other rookie out of Florida. Kenyatta Walker with the victory. Justin Smith in his repertoire is just the upfield rush. There's Keyshawn coming across in a simple post pattern. It's like playing catch in practice before anybody's even out there. There's no coverage, no bumping, not in Keyshawn's face on the line of scrimmage. They can continue to do that all day.
We go back to the ground with Warwick Dunn, and Dunn shifts his way for a couple of yards up the middle. And the Buccaneers have another drive going. That first drive, as I said, 18 plays. This one now coming up, the 6th play of the drive.
The offensive line really put a hat on a hat. The Buccaneers on Cincinnati's defenders. Warwick Dunn is doing a little bit too much dancing in the backfield. A little too much hopping. He's hopping back and forth. He's not hitting the hole. They're opening up holes. Warwick Dunn he has to find those holes and get through them.
He is sacked by Justin Smith, the rookie from Missouri. His second sack of the day for the Bengal defense, first for Smith. He's got 3.5 on the season.
And Justin Smith lined up out. They bring somebody outside of him, and Kenyatta Walker makes the mistake. He goes after the outside rusher instead of staying on the inside. You always want to stay big on big. Offensive lineman on big defensive lineman. Let your back pick up the blitzers.
You see the numbers for Smith in his rookie year, and he Came in the night before the first game. He was a holdout. Took a while to get signed. He said he didn't know what was going on for about the first 4 or 5 weeks. 3rd and 15. Warwick Dunn on the screen. And Dunn is caught and tackled by Smith again. Justin Smith had a nice series.
The 3rd and 15, not a lot of success, not a lot of plays the offensive coordinator can look at. Justin Smith with the inside move on Kenyatta. He's getting out, reads the screen, and he's in pursuit. Helps make the play. But Justin Smith, he's a motor guy. He's nonstop. He'll be all over the football field. And he talked about how he's still fresh. The fact that he didn't have to participate in training camp, he's still fresh and he's just getting his legs.
And the clock winds down. We have our 2-minute warning here in Cincinnati with the score. The Buccaneers 7, Bengals 3. TJ Hushmanzada back to return the punt.
Take a look at TJ. He's the only Bengal with the tail. Take a look at that little ponytail right there.
Well, he had a big week last week against the Browns. Had that 86-yard return. He also put it on the ground once as Mark Royals is set to punt this one away. Royals, you see the streak without a punt blocked. No rush on this one as Royals hangs it high and Hushmanzada has to make the fair catch, and he does at the 16-yard line. 35-yard punt, no return. Buccaneers up 7-3. John Kitna takes that Buccaneer offense 1st and 10 from their own 17. Play action. Kitna dumps it underneath to Tony McGee, and McGee is hit hard on the perimeter as Kelly went low on McGee, and McGee is slow to get up.
And McGee's had aches and pains in the past. Hope he's healthy because they need him.
Tony McGee will be attended to, and we'll take a break. Tony McGee gets a round of applause as he makes his way off the field, and that was a vicious hit by Brian Kelly. Let's see if we can pick up the sound on that one. Kind of got sandwiched between Singleton and Kelly. McGee slow to get up, and now he's being helped off the football field.
Not a good sound, especially if you're Tony McGee. You don't want to hear that type of contact. They were forced to use a timeout because they had an injured player under 2 minutes. Cincinnati only has one other tight end.
Well, they have Brad St. Louis, who is also the long snapper, but they also have today Nick Williams, number 30, who's been activated, and he's been working at the tight end spot. So if push comes to shove, they can use Williams in that position.
And Darnay Scott also came off the field in that play complaining about a hand injury.
4 wide receivers, no tight ends in the mix, and they run the draw. And here goes Corey Dillon, and Dillon picks up the 1st down off to the right side. Bengals with 2 timeouts left as the flag comes out at the end of the play.
Came down in the area of John Lynch.
And that is a face mask call against the Buccaneers.
Face mask, number 21 defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Donnie Abraham.
Donnie Abraham in on the play. Just gets a hand on the face mask. It's the 5-yard version. That's innocent. But you got to make sure you bring down Corey Dillon on that play.
You see the Bengals' first 3 possessions. The first one is a nice 14-play drive. Then they had the punt block, and then they had to punt again. Bogged down after that initial nice drive. And Kitney with pressure. He dumps it underneath to Corey Dillon, and Dillon will be tackled before he can get out of bounds on a nice play by Abraham.
Kitna, I think, is giving up, going downfield too early. He's feeling a little bit of pressure. Here's Warren Sapp in that 4-eye on Rayburg. Rayburg, described by his coach Dick LeBeau, as one of the best holders in the league. Gets on top of Warren and shuts him down.
This one is complete to Dugans for the 1st down. And now Kitna uses that 2nd timeout. With 1 minute and 1 second left, we'll take a timeout as well. Cincinnati trailing by 4, but they're on the move. 1 minute, 1 second left as John Kitna reading the play off the armband. They're in that 2-minute situation. Probably called 2 plays in the huddle.
Got pulled last week. decided to come out this week and he really wants to jumpstart this offense and put points on the board.
Fitness 7 of 10 for 57 yards here in the first half. With time, throws it underneath, and that is complete to Peter Warwick. Just a modest gain.
Yeah, too short of a passing game. You've got to be able to find something downfield. If you're going to waste the time and you're going to take time off the clock, you have to go downfield.
Hitting a 3-step, and that one just slips out of his hands. He changed his mind. He was going to throw it out to Darnay Scott, and then he brought it back down, and it got away from him.
Lucky he did change his mind. He's throwing right into coverage. Here's Kidna. You can see him get nervous in the middle. He just goes to throw, wants to hold on, and the inertia of the ball and the momentum that it was carrying just slips out of his hand. That's a forward pass. He was going to tuck that ball in, but that's a forward pass.
See Kidna's numbers on the day, 8 of 12 for 61, facing a third down here. Comes out as Kitna finds a wide open Peter Warwick, and Warwick does the smart thing and gets out of bounds, but not in time. They leave the clock running, but they'll stop it because of the flag.
They're going to keep that clock running. Once they see you're not going down the football field and trying to gain yardage, and you're going backwards to get out of bounds, they're going to call you inbounds even if you make it out of bounds, so they'll keep that clock turning.
Number 79 offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Remains third down.
You said he was the best holder in the league, Rayburg, according to Coach Dick LeBeau. He got caught.
And here he is right here, one of the strongest and best holders in the league. He's got to be able to work those hands inside. It's the takedown. That's what they see. Once you see that defensive player going down and getting thrown down to the ground, the umpire's in a position where he sees that perfectly. That's his focus. He has to throw the flag.
Rayburg, a 5-year man out of my alma mater, Central Michigan University. He killed the drive. Bennett with the reception. He gets back up to midfield. And it'll bring up a 4th down. And without question, LeBeau sends the punt team onto the field. And I expect the Buccaneers to take a timeout, and they do. We'll take one as well with 15 seconds left here in the first half. Buccaneers up by 4. John Kitna on the sidelines. I tell you, he'd like to have that drive back. That was an opportunity for the Bengals to make a statement here in the first half. Instead, they have to punt. And Harris hits this one good. There was nobody back for Tampa Bay. They went with the all-out rush, and it goes into the end zone for a touchback. They'll stop the clock with 2 seconds left, so it gives me a chance to tell you that coming up on the Visa Halftime Show, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league. And then our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats, all coming up on the Visa Halftime Report. The Buccaneers have just 2 seconds left from their own 20-yard line. Do you take a shot here, Yurko, or you just keep it on the ground?
I try to take a shot downfield. It doesn't hurt. You're up 7-3. You're going in at halftime. Of course, Brad Johnson and Tony Dungy, they're going to sit on the ball, but you might get a pass interference penalty down the field.
Well, they don't take that chance, and Brad Johnson takes the knee, and so that brings us to our halftime with Tampa Bay up 7-3. The Visa Halftime Report is next after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Halftime here in Cincinnati with the Buccaneers up 7-3. Dan Horde talked with Tony Dungy on the way to the locker room. Here's Dan.
Coach, the good news is you take a 7-3 lead to the locker room. I guess the bad news would be the offense hasn't scored yet. What do you need to do better offensively?
We just got to get sharper. We made some mistakes on some third down plays. We've had a couple sacks early. We got to just get some rhythm and get a couple of drives in the second half.
The touchdown came on a blocked punt. Did you see anything in film that helped you block it, or did Rondé make an athletic play?
Well, it's a great play, but it was an overload rush. We came with 5 guys off one side. We thought it'd be good for one shot, and it was.
Coach, thanks very much. Ray, back to you.
Thanks, Dan. We'll return for the second half kickoff after these messages from your local Fox station. 7-3 Tampa Bay. Welcome back to Paul Brown Stadium. The score here at halftime, Tampa Bay 7, Cincinnati 3. And Yurko, the Bengals really started this game out nice, had a huge drive to open things up.
A huge drive to open things up. They've got a field goal out of it. Nothing after that. No production whatsoever. They even got a punt block return for a touchdown.
Let's take a look at that great drive to start things out. And this is Bennett making one of his runs on it. And Corey Dillon also a big part of it. He had 8 carries on the drive. This is one of the few pass plays on the drive. Darnay Scott with the big reception. Dillon stopped just shy of the goal line. They had to go and kick the field goal after that one. And then the last 3 drives have been fruitless for John Kitna and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now for Tampa Bay, they really have done well on special teams. That's really the only place that they have gotten it done today. And the biggest play was that blocked punt by Rondé Barber.
Yeah, they went with an overload on the side. Rondé Barber was unaccounted for. He went in. He made the big play with the block punt. And Martin Gramatica, unfortunately, he's made one of his last 4 field goals. But Rondé Barber with the big play, and Yoder picks it up, scores a touchdown. The only points for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And Brad Johnson has been perfect here in the first half. 12 consecutive completions to start the ball game. He's thrown for 97 yards, no touchdowns or interceptions. He's 3 shy of a record for Tampa Bay.
Keep it simple and stupid for your offensive quarterback. That's what he's doing. Find the open man and hit him, and that's what he's been able to do. Whether it's the running back, it's the tight end, wide receivers, Jaquez Green catching the crux of the balls. But you take a look, the wide receivers have caught 8, running backs 3, and the tight ends have only caught 1, but that's the type of distribution he needs. He doesn't bias it one way or the other to where he's going to go. Whatever the defense is willing to give him is where he's willing to go.
Green with 5 catches, 48 yards. Keyshawn Johnson 3 grabs for 21 yards. As Neil Rackers has it racked up and ready to roll here to start the second half. Frank Murphy back to return for Tampa Bay, and Rackers pops this one up again high, and a fair catch is called for and made by the Buccaneers' Sean McDermott. And let's take a look at the first half stats.
Nothing gaudy here when you take a look at the first half stats. Rushing yards, only 12 for the Buccaneers. They wanted to establish the run. 40 yards for the Bengals. No turnovers in the game. That's a surprise. Though you would think that block punt might be called a turnover. Time of possession, the statistics describe what type of game it is on the field. Not too exciting. On the ground, everybody's committed not to make big mistakes.
First and 10. Dave Moore in motion. Brad Johnson back to throw. And he is 13 in a row now for Johnson as he connects with Green for 13 yards. And let's go down to Dan Ward for an injury report.
Ray, the word on the sideline is that Tony McGee has a sprained right knee. He's undergoing an MRI right now and will not return in the second half. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Also, Darnay Scott hurt his ribs, and the report is he will attempt to come back and play in this game.
And those were ribs that were already injured, and he got him banged up a little bit, came to the sideline at the end of the first half.
Buccaneers go to the ground. Warwick Dunn, and Dunn finds room off to the left side. He picks up 7 yards.
That's the way I like to see Warwick Dunn run. Straight ahead, downfield, not a lot of hopping, not a lot of dancing in the offensive backfield. Get him out to the perimeter, kick the exterior guys, the outside guys out, block everybody down inside, give him a lane to choose up on the safety. 6 times out of 10, 60% of the time, he'll be able to juke that safety and break a big one.
Second down and 3. The Bengals show blitz, and here they come. And Johnson reads it and goes downfield for Keyshawn Johnson. He makes the catch, and he's knocked out of bounds by Armour, but not until he gets all the way up to the Bengal 21-yard line.
Juwan Armour with great coverage on Keyshawn Johnson. Brad Johnson, he's going to get back. He's going to look. He sees the blitz. He has pre-snap reads. He knows he's getting single coverage over on that right side. Look at the offhand, that push. Look at that little push by Keyshawn Johnson, a veteran, big play guy. He knows how to make room for himself, and Roman goes for the jump. There's 4 or 5 yards in between the two of them. Keyshawn knows how to make room when there's tight coverage.
He beat Mark Roman for the 34-yarder. Now the flag is out, and it'll be a call going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. False start.
Number 81 offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
Jaquez Green got a little anxious.
Jaquez doing a little dancing. There's Jaquez. Just a little hesitation, and he can reset, but there was a man in motion. So that would have been 2 men in motion. They have to call the illegal procedure penalty.
Yeah, really, I mean, you're looking in at the ball. There's no excuse for that.
Jaquez Green can wait for as long as he can to get off the ball.
And Johnson throws it incomplete to Keyshawn Johnson, and Foley was on the coverage, and there's a flag down. So if the penalty overrules the play, that 14 for 14 streak would stay alive for Brad Johnson.
That penalty.
Pass interference. Number 95 defense. He hooks the receiver. It's an automatic first down.
Streak stays alive.
Sometimes you need to catch a few breaks when you've got a streak going. And the fact that Foley's out on Keyshawn is a little bit of a mismatch. But there's the left hand all over Keyshawn Johnson. The official sees it, calls holding.
Ward done. Nowhere to go over there. He runs right into Brian Simmons.
Keyshawn's been in the newspapers this week. He's got his own radio show where he's got 2 hours all by himself, no co-host. And his opinions, he doesn't bear anything. I mean, he's ready to go over everybody. He's a little disappointed in his wide receivers, not happy with their productivity. People call them young, but they're 4 or 5 years old guys. They need to make plays.
Brad Johnson down the middle, and he overshoots his tight end, Dave Moore, and the streak is over. Johnson now 14 of 15. And Keyshawn Johnson yet to score a touchdown. He's closing in on James Wilder, who in 1984 had 85 catches, no touchdowns, and then Roger Craig in 86 had 81 catches, no touchdowns. Keyshawn Johnson is at 80 right now and still no touchdowns.
And Keyshawn's afraid right when they get to the 20 and they get in the red zone because he says he doesn't get the opportunity to catch balls in the end zone.
Johnson rolling out, has to throw it away. Had big pressure on him coming from Renard Wilson.
Keyshawn talking about the fact that in other years he'd get 4 chances in the end zone in one drive, and here's Keyshawn coming across the middle. Brad Johnson being flush, but there's inside-outside coverage on Keyshawn Johnson. They know he's the threat. He's the big physical guy, the guy you could throw an alley-oop pass to. They're going to make sure they pay attention to him, the Bengals.
And so the Buccaneers will have to attempt a field goal here in the opening drive of the second half. And Gramatica has struggled this one from 38 yards. And he is off to Schneid. That one's good. Gramatica field goal puts the Buccaneers up now 10-3. The opening drive produces points, although not what Keyshawn wanted, and Gramatica splits the upright. Ray Bentley along here with John Yurkovich in Riverfront Stadium, and Keyshawn Johnson receiving congratulations on the sideline. He had the big play, the 34-yard catch in that Buccaneer 7-play 55-yard scoring drive. Curtis Keaton is back to receive the Gramatica kick. Takes it from the 11-yard line. And Keaton gets his way up to the 30, a 19-yard return. And well, after that drive, Keyshawn Johnson was upset. He wanted more than just a field goal.
He's been held out of the end zone for a long time. He's a little frustrated at the fact that he's not getting opportunities to catch the ball in the end zone. And he went over to talk to quarterback Brad Johnson, and Brad explains to what he's seeing, what he's taking a look at. He's probably saying, hey, I didn't get too much protection once we got down there, and I was running for my life, so I couldn't find you.
The Bengals take over on their own 30-yard line. Kitna has this one batted up, and he does a nice job of knocking the ball away from Marcus Jones. Jones batted the ball and almost picked it off.
It looked like a volleyball set. Jones coming off the edge. Kitna trying to go to the running back. out in the perimeter, Lorenzo Neal, and there he is. The tip comes from Marcus Jones, and then John Kitna looks a little bit like Steve Timmons or Karch Karai and tries to spike that one right over the net.
Nice spike, except you usually don't get hit in the face after you spike it in volleyball. That was full contact. On second down, they go to the ground with Corey Dillon. Dillon on the cutback. Runs into Derek Brooks.
This is what Cincinnati gets back. They need to get back to this. They need to get back to Corey Dillon getting handoffs, making the decision on where he wants to run. He's a nice, patient runner. He's going to take a look at what's happening. He's going to find a hole, and he's going to get positive yardage.
You can see he's home at home. Dillon on the day, 15 carries, 38 yards. Third down and 5 for the Bengals. Kitna throws across the body, almost picked off by John Lynch. Can't quite say who he was throwing it to.
And that's one of the things.
Nobody there.
Yeah, that's a thing a quarterback can never do. Throw across your body, back against the grain across the field. You're asking for trouble. What John Kitna is doing and what he sees, it really doesn't make a difference. His receiver slips down, but that ball, once you start throwing across the body, you're destined for trouble.
Especially down the middle, late in the down. That's three evils.
Yeah.
So they'll have to punt it away. They had one blocked in the first half. Rondé Barber blocked it. Picked it up. Scored from 11 yards out. That was the only touchdown of the day as Carl Williams makes his way outside, and he is run out of bounds by Chris Carter.
Let's go.
And we'll take a break. Buccaneers up 10-3. Brad Johnson and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers up 10-3. Johnson completed 14 consecutive passes to start the ball game. Misfired on his last 2. He'll go to the air again. He dumps it outside, complete to the tight end, Dave Moore, and Moore is hit and dragged down by Mark Roman. And Jaquez Green has been the #1 receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here today. 6 catches for 61 yards. Here's a little look at him in the first half.
And Jaquez Green, he's playing hurt today. He had a groin injury, moved up now to an abdominal strain, but he's sucking it up. He's getting out there and he's getting it done. Not dropping anything, everything thrown to him, he's catching, moving the chains downfield.
Second down and 2. We go to the ground, work done. Tries to make the cutback and he can't get away from Tony Williams.
Tony Williams and Oliver Gibson, the 2 tackles inside. They're both making it happen with penetration. Their penetration, a little twist inside on the game. And Tony Williams comes free off of Randall McDaniel, makes the play, and work done.
And I think that's one of the additions to the Bengal defense that has really helped solidify them. Tony Williams, coming over from Minnesota, has done a great job playing that 3 technique.
Both guys in the middle, very mobile, can chase people down from behind.
3rd and 5, blitz comes. Johnson with time, throws it outside, complete to his tight end, Dave Moore, for the first down.
Cincinnati defense a little discombobulated at the line of scrimmage. Didn't get the call in time. Everybody was hopping around, and we didn't get a rush. We didn't get the type of rush from the Cincinnati team, the defense that we needed. Here's the confusion right here. Nobody has the call. Everybody's standing, taking a look where we should be. Only 3 guys end up rushing. And on the 3rd and 5, everybody needs to be on the same page. Cincinnati gave up a first down.
Nose of the ball just into Bengal territory as work done. Squeezes through and picks up 4 yards. Takeo Spikes makes the play.
Great battles inside between the offensive line and the defensive line. Here you're going to see a double on Oliver Gibson. It's a scoop double. Randall McDaniel gets the double scoop, gets him outside of him in the B gap, and Christie comes back up on Simmons. The offensive line got exactly what it needed. Christie on the linebacker, Randall McDaniel moving Gibson out and taking him backside.
See the rush yards, 18 today. The longest carry of the day, a 7-yarder by Warwick Dunn. Here comes the blitz, and it got there early. And Johnson just fires it away. There are flags down. Spikes was offsides.
It's great when you can time a blitz, but when you don't time that blitz, you get penalties. And Cincinnati just trying to gamble. They gambled unnecessarily.
All sides. Number 56 defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains. Second down.
Well, they got Simmons, but I think Spikes was offsides as well. But Dick LeBeau's defense is all that was advertised, ranked 10th coming in, and they've done a good job. The only points the Buccaneer offense has put together was that Gramatica field goal.
And it's the defense, the penetrating style of defense, the fast, quick defense, zone blitz defense that has caused Brad Johnson to look at his progressions and find his receivers late.
It's Keyshawn on the slant, complete for the first down, a gain of 10 on the play. And Keyshawn Johnson makes yet another grab, 81 on the year. That ties him.
And Keyshawn can run this pattern until the cows come home. Cincinnati refuses to cover him tight. They refuse to put a man up, and they refuse to put somebody on the line of scrimmage with a little bump and run coverage, trying to slow down Keyshawn. The timing on that play it's impeccable between Brad Johnson and Keyshawn.
Bengals come with a blitz late, and Brad Johnson reads it, throws it to Keyshawn Johnson into the end zone. Incomplete. Johnson couldn't get around the good coverage over there by Mark Roman.
Keyshawn, the wide receiver that was double covered. They should have went to Frank Murphy on the top side. He had the single coverage. He had his man beat, and he was going to the end zone. He was the one that was open. You need to go to that left side. And Brad, I think in the haste of trying to get Keyshawn a touchdown and give him a chance in the end zone, I think he could have read that double coverage and sent that to the backside to Frank Murphy.
81 catches without a touchdown. We asked him about it. Everyone's asking him about it. He's trying to get him one just to get the monkey off his back. 2nd and 10. Brad Johnson zips it outside, and that is complete to the tight end Yoder. But no, they're going to say he was pushed out of bounds, and so they'll say it was a complete.
They give him the completion. If the referees feel that he can make that catch, and his feet will come down inbounds, if he's pushed out, they're going to call that a reception.
Got him in anyway.
Talent. That's what that is. Talent and awareness.
Nice job by Todd Yoder, his initial catch of the season.
Initial touchdown? Initial
big day, big initial day for him.
Yoder, who would have thought Yoder would be the key man today?
3rd and 6. Johnson over the middle, that's complete. Now it's fumbled. Allstott fumbled the football. Chris Carter picked it up. Second takeaway of the day for Carter. He intercepted a pass earlier, and now he picks up a fumble, and it thwarts the Tampa Bay drive. It's 10-3 Buccaneers. Mike Allstott gave up the bean. It was Robert Bean over there. He put his head right on the football and popped it out. Chris Carter recovered it. I had said Carter had an interception earlier, but that was actually nullified by a penalty, so it's the first turnover of the ball game. Corey Dillon takes it off to the right side for a couple. Let's go back to that last play, that turnover.
There's a crossing route run in the middle between Keyshawn and Mike Allstott. Allstott, the one who comes free, makes the catch, turns it upfield, and then Bean just ducks his head, puts it on the ball. Allstott, who's prone to fumbling, fumbles here. Chris Carter picks it up, returns it for yardage. But Cincinnati now has the momentum, has the crowd behind them. Now John Kitna has to lead this team and move them down the field and score a touchdown.
They stay on the ground at 2nd and 6, and Corey Dillon fights Jamie Duncan for a couple of yards. 10-3 Tampa Bay over Cincinnati with 5:58 and counting left, and the Cincinnati Bengals are not out of it by any means. They're trailing by 7 in this game, but they're 4-6, and they still have wild card aspirations in the AFC.
They're going to have to start winning games. 6 of them left. You take a look, 6-0, 5-1 in the last 6 games. That's the only way Cincinnati's going to make the playoffs.
On 3rd down, Kitna rolls out. Pressure comes from Quarles. He avoids the rush and now throws it away down the field. And they say he did step out of bounds, so it'll be a sack. -10 yards on the play. Shelton Quarles gets the stack.
Kitna needs to realize where he is on the football field rather than taking the sack. And right there, you could see him on top of the outside boundary lines, but he has to realize where he's at. Throw the ball away. You're outside the tackle box, dump the ball. It's third down. Don't get an interception. Don't throw the ball in the field of play. Third down has been killing the Cincinnati Bengals.
And Harris hits a short punt, and Carl Williams doesn't even get close to it. And Ron Dugans downs the ball. A 28-yard punt. Tampa Bay gets it back. Tony Dungy's team up 10-3 here, and he's had a lot to deal with, not only this week, but throughout the entire season.
He says that's the way football's heading in general. So it's a sign of the times. I mean, winning isn't the most important thing to players all the time.
Warwick Dunn pushed out of bounds by Takeo Spikes, and Tony Dungy this week has gone through a lot of things. The Bucks are unhappy. You got Simeon Rice complaining about things, and Keyshawn Johnson says the receivers aren't getting it done, and Warren Sapp is out there, wondering. Well, Warren Sapp will say anything. I mean, he's just constantly going at it, and a lot of these guys have radio and TV shows. They have a forum to get out there and complain and bicker about things. 2nd and 12, and Justin Smith goes off sides. Makes the tackle in the backfield. The flag is down, and I'm sure that it'll cost the Bengals 5 yards. And there it is, offsides against Cincinnati. And even this week, Tony Dungy had to deal with the rumors that Bill Parcells supposedly is going to take his job next year.
All sense. The middle guard defense, it's a 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
And here's all the TV and radio shows that these guys have, and it's just amazing.
Hey, take a look, Warren Sapp and Keyshawn Johnson. These are the two guys that are like the spokesman for the team. Warren Sapp at the beginning of the year said, if we don't win, we don't get to the Super Bowl, we're going to be gone. And that's not necessarily true. That's his opinion, but that's not the truth. And that puts a lot of pressure on the other players. It puts a lot of pressure on Tony Dungy.
You have to give Tony Dungy credit for the way he deals with those things. Allstott deals with the biggest run of the day for Tampa Bay. Give him the first down, a gain of 10. Here's how Tony Dungy felt. We talked to him yesterday about all of these things we've been talking about.
Well, having dominant personalities is good in a lot of ways, as long as everybody's focused on winning and making that the most important thing. And fortunately for us, we have that. We have guys that are very much into winning ball games. And, you can kind of deal with everything else as long as that focus is there. They've been pushing their teammates, they push themselves, and, that's usually positive.
Dunn off to the left side for 5 more. But what's your thoughts on that?
As long as guys are focused on winning, but at times you only get focused on winning if your backs are up against the wall. Then you put everything aside and you go and you play football the way it needs to be played. But what happens is if you start winning games, then people say, hey, I got to do the show here. I got to make sure I talk to the press on this occasion. I've got to make sure that I'm out at the restaurants and I'm doing some appearances and stuff like that. And then when you start losing games again, then football becomes the priority again and winning becomes the priority.
2nd and 5. Warwick Dunn the priority, and he, with a little cutback, gets very close to the first down. Brian Simmons makes the tackle. Let's go to Los Angeles. And here's JB.
Hey, Ray, Pittsburgh expanding its lead against Minnesota. Take a look at the end around here. Troy Edwards, Louisiana Tech, Terry's guy. First rushing touchdown ever. And also on the ensuing kickoff, he forced the fumble. The Steelers are driving again. Back to Ray Bentley. And Ray, the guy, John Rikovic, helped me as a play-by-play guy when I was with another network, and he was with the Green Bay Packers.
Pittsburgh, what a tough place to play. Heinz Field, the home field never goes away. It used to be Three River Stadium, now it's Heinz Field, and Pittsburgh just played it up.
And 3rd and short, penetration from the Bengal line stops Allstott in the backfield.
Allstott has the ability to break tackles, and if you get him through, the defensive line portion of the defense. You get him into the linebackers and the defensive backs. He can continue to keep pressing and pushing and getting through the defensive secondary.
Right.
Not a lot of push in the offensive line.
Simmons shot the gap right there.
And Christie's having trouble with Steele. Coleman's having trouble with Steele. They submarined him, stopped him on 3rd down.
Here we go on 4th and 2. And it's broken up. Nice defensive play by Mark Roman. He knocks the ball away, and the Bengals stop Tampa Bay on a 4th and 2. Buccaneers with a 7-point lead, 1:19 to go in the 3rd. Brad Johnson and Jaquez Green right there tried to hook up on that last 4th down, and their timing was just a little bit off, and Mark Roman made a huge play to turn the ball back over to the Bengals. Kitna has to throw this one away completely, and they expect a flag, but it's not going to come out. And Dungy wants one too for intentional grounding.
And Tony Dungy should get a flag for intentional grounding.
There's no intentional grounding. The quarterback was out of the pocket.
Boy, I'm doubting that. But that's Tom White's call, and he made that call. But you got to be outside to where the tight end would be.
It's tackle to tackle, and he's right even to where Willie Anderson was lined up.
He's got to be outside where the tight end would be. For an order, I mean, that's the tight end box, not the tackle box.
And he never made it outside the tackle. He didn't even make it to the tight end. He was still inside the tackle.
Right.
So that flag should have thrown, and they should have called it.
However, that's a judgment call. I don't believe it can be replayed. That's what Tony Dungy is trying to get. There was a replay on it, but in a call like that, it's not replayable.
And what the officials do now is explain it to the coach that it can't be.
It's not charged a timeout.
See, Tony took a timeout to question that. You know, I want to replay that, Mr. White, but you can't do that. You can't replay a judgment penalty call.
And Cincinnati's protection breaking down. They've got enough people to block, but they've committed to being the big people and letting the hot guy through. They need to make an adjustment in coverage.
And Corey Dillon is stopped. Let's go back to that 4th down play. I think the timing was a little bit askew between Brad Johnson and Jaquez Green.
And it was. Brad Johnson trying to throw on rhythm. When Jaquez makes his break, the ball needs to be delivered. And here the break is, and he's still winding up, trying to make the toss. The ball floats and flutters a little bit, and Roman gets his left hand in there to break up the pass.
3rd down and 8. Kitna goes to the shotgun, and the Bucs show blitz. And now they change out. Kitna dumps it underneath to Bennett, and Bennett gets the 1st down.
It's the first time I've seen Kitna sit back and fire a ball into one of his wide receivers, or into one of his receivers' hands. Usually he sits back and he dances a little bit, finds out and just trying to flutter something out, you know, out to the perimeter. But this time he sat back, he fired, he looked at his receiver, he found him, made the decision, stepped into the throw. Bennett with the catch and the 1st down.
And that is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. Tampa Bay 10, Cincinnati 3. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a word from your local Fox station.
I'm Tony Dungy, and you're watching the Bucs on Fox 13.
Ray Bentley along with John Yurkovich here in Cincinnati. And Yurko, the Bengals still in this one, and when they run the ball more than they pass, they usually win, and play selection has been running so far.
They made a cognizant effort to try to run the ball and to commit to that. And the fact of the matter is today they've run 19 times, they've passed 19 times. When they do that, they win. And they're trying to come out of here with a victory today. They're getting the ball into Corey Dillon's hands. He's their playmaker.
And they go play action with this one, and Kitna hits Brad St. Louis, and St. Louis can't hang on to it. Oh, he tried to one-hand the thing.
We talked about Brad St. Louis being the snapper. He's not really a tight end. He's been forced into action because of the injury to Tony McGee. And here's Brad St. Louis, play action into the middle. He blocks, gets away. He has to make this catch. 2 hands, Brad. 2 hands as a receiver. Put both of them up. You give yourself a chance to come down with the play. He tipped it up. He almost caused an interception there for John Kitna.
Boy, and that play would have gained more yards than the Bengals gained in the whole third quarter. They only came up with 14. Brings up a 2nd down and 10. Kitna dumps this one, and he can't find Dugans. Had to throw a little sidearm as he was evading the pressure from Singleton.
Kitna under duress. They've run that play action into the middle, that rollout. They haven't fooled anybody yet today. And here it is, the fake toss. Singleton not fooled. Tries to step up and make a play, but the pressure coming from all sides. Ball hit Dugans in the hand. Dugans should be able to come down with that.
That'll bring up a 3rd down for the Bengals. They are just 4 of 10 on 3rd downs. And Kitna looks down the field, and it's intercepted by Abraham. And Abraham will be stopped just shy of midfield by the intended receiver Dugans, but Donnie Abraham comes up with the interception, his 4th of the season, to turn the tide. 10-3 Buccaneers. And Dick LeBeau's quarterback, John Kitna, struggling today. His rating on the day just 39.2. He's 10 of 20, and he has just thrown an interception that sets up the Buccaneers. Warwick Dunn takes it outside. He's run out of bounds by Spikes and Armour after a pickup of 3 on the play. But let's go back to this interception by Donnie Abraham.
You can see Donnie Abraham. They're playing a 2-deep coverage. John Lynch dropping off as the half safety. And here he doesn't see Chad Johnson really running a route, so he drops back, and he's playing the deep to the short. So he goes, plays the deep pattern, gets the interception. Kitna didn't have a good read. And here he realizes that he's in trouble. Kitna not too happy with himself. He's got to find a way to tackle Donnie Abraham.
You have to wonder as Mike Allstott pounds the middle. Allstott breaks through all the way down to the 35-yard line where Spikes gets him down. But you have to wonder if Achilles Smith won't come into the ball game here, as Dick LeBeau, he yanked Kitna last week at halftime, put Scott Mitchell in, and now Achilles Smith this week moved up into that number 2 spot. And they talked about, hey, it might be time to get this guy ready.
If you pull Kitna and you put in Achilles Smith, you need to be ready to dedicate yourself to Achilles Smith for the rest of the year. He is now your quarterback. That means you give up on Kitna, you're not going to go back to him, and Achilles Smith would then be your guy.
1st and 10, and Allstott trapped in the backfield. Justin Smith, the first man to show up.
I don't believe Dick LeBeau is ready to give up on John Kitna yet. So I think he's going to continue to put him out there and hope he works out of his slump. But if it continues, the John Kitna project here in Cincinnati is going to be over, and they're going to have to make a commitment to Achilles Smith, and they're going to have to go on.
Mike Brown talked about it in the paper this week about, you know what, it might be time to find out what Achilles has, see what we have here for the future. And that's, of course, once they're eliminated from any playoff possibilities, which with a loss today might mean that. As Johnson throws it, he is hit. Pressure coming. He had to get rid of the football.
Johnson dropping back. Takeo Spikes coming off the backside.
It's Tony Williams with the pressure.
Pressure coming in the middle from Tony Williams. He's expecting that play fake. Warwick Dunn went the wrong way on the play fake. Johnson fakes to nobody, drops back. And Warwick Dunn should have been the one blocking and maybe being secure there, picking up with Tony Williams in the backfield.
You see the pressure on Johnson, and they'll bring it again on this 3rd down and 10. And here comes that blitz. And Johnson gets it out, and it is complete as Kaesvaharn makes this hit immediately on Jaquez Green, and Green stays down.
Jaquez Green banged up. Johnson needing 10 yards for the first. Goes short. If he gives the receiver a chance to catch that on the ground, he might be able to run for a first down.
Well, Green had that stomach injury, and that didn't help. Jaquez Green made it off the field under his own power. That's good news, and the Buccaneers will have to attempt a field goal from 48 yards. Gramatica missed from 43 earlier today. He hit from 38. And he hits this one pretty good. And it is good. 48-yard field goal from Martin Gramatica, and that pads the Buccaneers lead to 13-3. And let's take a look at that third down try.
Jaquez Green just going to run the quick slant. Brad Johnson has to get the ball to him while he's still running, but Case Fajarn just with the good hit, lands on the head, lands on his neck. I think he's just a little bit afraid of that neck injury. Then just a nice kick by Martin Gramatica right down the middle. He's struggled as of late. He's connected on 2 field goals here today.
Right, 2 out of 3. Hit the one from 38 and that one from 48. The Buccaneers now with a 10-point bulge with 12:29 left to go.
We talk about confidence and confidence that a field goal kicker has. And if you start missing a couple of kicks, all of a sudden that mind, the mental game, you start playing with it. You start thinking, should I adjust my stance? Should I do this? Should I do that? And when you're playing with confidence, you're kicking with confidence, everything seems so automatic. But when you lose it, boy, you strive. It's like a golfer losing his swing. You start eating away from the inside out, just trying to find a way to get it back. And it looks like Martin Gramatica, he's found a way to get it back, his confidence.
Gramatica to kick off. Keaton deep for Cincinnati. And he line drives this one. And that's picked up by Houshmandzadeh. TJ Houshmandzadeh is stopped at the 30-yard line. Next week, it's another full day of NFL action, beginning with the undisputed champion of pregame shows, Fox NFL Sunday. Then Charlie Batch and the Lions take on Warren Sapp and these Buccaneers as they try to stay in the playoff hunt, plus Stephen Davis and the Red Hot Redskins. We'll visit Jake Plummer and the Cardinals in an NFC East battle, plus other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific here on Fox. And John Kitna stays into the game, and a few boos welcomed him back. And Corey Dillon tries it off to the right side, and you hear the boos again, and this crowd wants to see some action on offense, and they haven't seen much offense from Cincinnati today. 118 total yards, and look at the time of possession in this half.
Tampa Bay controlling the ball, controlling it with their ground game. The Cincinnati defense starting to tire a little bit, but they're still hanging in there. John Kitna has to move this team. If he doesn't move this team, Coach LeBeau is going to lose his players and their faith in John Kitna.
Kitna nowhere to go. He fumbles the football, and the Bengals get it back.
Inexcusable for Tampa Bay not to come up with that football. Warren Sapp had it slip right through his fingers. He was trying to pick it up and score a touchdown, but Sapp lets it slip through the fingers. But the pressure comes off the backside.
It's Rice.
Simeon Rice making an over and under move on Richmond Webb. Richmond gets lost, and there the ball knocked out of Sapp's hand by one of his own guys. He's disgruntled. He was looking to score.
Simeon Rice gets his second sack of the day. Rice now with 5 on the season. 3rd and 18. And this is just a bad throw intended for Peter Warrick, and Kitna gets to hear a resounding chorus of boos as he heads to the sideline.
I've seen enough. I've seen enough of John Kitna. I'd bring Achilles Smith in, see if his versatility could make it happen for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, he really had nowhere to go on this one.
And Darnay Scott just running a little in route. He was probably the 3rd or 4th option on that route, and he didn't run it too aggressively. Chad Johnson lets himself get ridden out of bounds. You've got to do something as a wide receiver to help your quarterback.
Harris punts it to Carl Williams, and Williams will have good field position. He takes it at the 39, gets it up to the 41. 39-yard punt, 2-yard return. Buccaneers in control. They lead by 10. These two teams met back in December of '98, and Tampa Bay came away with a 35-0 win over the Bengals on that day, as Mike Allstott had 3 touchdowns. Don Davis blocked this punt, and Rondé Barber had an interception at the goal line, returned 56 yards.
Take a look at the offense of the Cincinnati Bengals. Here's the quarterback right here. and the team is on one bench and the other bench. They should be communicating with each other. John should be with his wide receivers, telling him what he expects. Then he should go back over with his running backs and his offensive line to say, hey, give me a little bit of protection. But there's no communication.
And they're starting to exit here from the stadium. Some of the Bengal faithful taking the escalator out of here.
They've seen enough. 3 points after being shut out last week by Cleveland, 18-0. They've seen enough. They've seen enough of the offense. They're not happy with it. They might have to put Achilles Smith in just to rejuvenate some excitement.
All stop with the catch and the move. Gets it into Bengal territory to the 46-yard line. 11 yards on the pickup.
Tampa's going to look to just control the ball. Short passing game, running game, put it up inside, keep running the clock, getting points, keep this 10-point lead, add 3, add 7. They're just trying to maintain. Don't turn the ball over. Don't do nothing too risky. I don't think you're going to see that out of Brad Johnson. He's going to keep short passing game, quick completions, hold on to the ball with both arms.
Stay on the ground with Ward Dunn, and Dunn picks up a couple of yards over to the right side. And you look at the NFC Central Division standings, and Tampa Bay would go to 6-5 with a win here today, and they would stay alive in that NFC wild card hunt. They're tied with 3 other teams for the wild card battle, and that's really where they're focused right now. And I don't think that they've entirely ruled out a division championship, but trailing Chicago by 3, that's a difficult one. But you see Detroit up on Chicago in the 4th quarter, but that doesn't really mean anything with the Lions. I think Chicago's got them right where they want them.
If the playoffs started today, Tampa would not make the playoffs. So they've got to string some victories. Get up to the 10 victory mark, I believe, is what's going to get an NFC team in the wild card picture.
And Warwick Dunn rips off 12 yards. Darrell Williams on the tackle, and take another look at Warwick's run.
Really the action you're going to see in between the center. Christie, McDaniel, sealing the backside. All stop with the lead block on Takeo spikes. And you get Warwick Dunn on the safety, and you're going to win every time when Warwick Dunn is going one-on-one on the safety. Doesn't get touched through the line of scrimmage.
Look at the disparity in total yards. Neither offense really lighting it up today, but the Bengals a meager 107 yards. Dunn takes it again to the left side. Now, in the NFC, Tampa Bay is tied at 5-5 with Washington, the New York Giants, and New Orleans. And those are the teams really that they're competing with. You've got an Atlanta team that's 6-4, also in the wild card race. That's right ahead of them. You see, here's the NFC East look, and the Giants and Washington right there in the mix, and Arizona's still alive at 4-6 if they can get on a run. So a lot of football yet to be played in the NFC.
A lot of teams looking to get on runs.
Warwick Dunn stopped in the backfield. We'll stop and head out to Los Angeles. Here's JB.
And Ray, what we'll show you is how the New Orleans Saints are trying to climb over 500. Take a look at Brooks hooking up with Albert Connell, 14 yards of pay dirt. That capped a 6-play, 53-yard drive, and it's 20-10. Saints over Carolina. Just the start of the 4th. Back to Ray and John.
Thank you, JB. We're at Paul Brown Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a commanding 13-3 lead. 6:40 and counting to go, and they are on the move, but a big 3rd down, 3rd and 9. And Johnson goes for it all, and he way overshoots Frank Murphy. And it'll be interesting to see if this is Grammatica field goal range. Now, the last one that he hit from 48, he hit it pretty solid. He would have made it from this distance, and you're looking right now at what would be a 52-yard field goal, say, depending on where they spot it.
I would be more apt to pooch this ball and punt it and put Cincinnati in bad field position. But Tony Dungy has a lot of faith in his defense, and he believes if Martin Grammatica misses his kick, his defense will be able to come out and stop John Kitna in the Bengal offense.
Well, he's pretty good from 50-plus, long in his 49 yards, and he overkicks this one, and yanks it to the left. And Gramatica still not out of the woods, and neither are the Buccaneers, but they do lead by 10 with 6:23 to go. Martin Gramatica from 51 shanked her hard to the left, and it's still 13-3 Tampa Bay. Bengals starting at their own 40-yard line. They go to the ground with a patient Corey Dillon, who picks up 6 yards off to the right side. And the Bengals offense is third worst in the NFL with 3-and-out drives. And you see this today, 4 of them, and 3 of those have come here in the second half.
Not what you need. John Kitna was supposed to be able to lead this team. The receivers aren't dropping the balls. They're not making mental mistakes. But John hasn't been able to find a way to get the ball to his wide receivers.
Real impressive day from Kitna. However, he hooks up on this one to Chad Johnson. Johnson's second catch of the day gets them into Tampa Bay territory, down to the 39, a gain of 17. Let's recap today's action for you. Rondé Barber blocks this punt. Yoder picks it up 11 yards into the end zone. That's the only touchdown that we've seen all day. And turnovers have really kept Cincinnati in it here in the second half.
Interception by Donnie Abraham makes the play.
And now Corey Dillon finds a little room, and this Bengal offense has woken up here with 5 minutes and change left. They're threatening.
They gained more yardage in 2 plays than they did the whole half. Corey Dillon, one of the great reasons why he's a phenomenal runner is his patience. He sees the hole. When he finds it, he hits it, and he bursts through it, breaks a tackle. Big yardage for a first down.
Kitna goes to the air again, trying to set up the screen, and nowhere to go with that one. And he takes a shot after the play from Steve White. They tried to run the screen to Corey Dillon, and he was wrapped up, and now there's a flag on the play.
They'll probably end up calling illegal man downfield on the Cincinnati Bengals. 2 great plays, and all of a sudden you get a mistake to move you backwards.
Well, the great play was the Tampa Bay defender who grabbed a hold of Corey Dillon. Now John Kitna had nowhere to go with it, had to throw the thing down the field, and he had blockers down the field expecting a screen.
The timing on the screen is so important. You've got to suck those guys.
That was the lineman downfield, number 73 on the offense. The penalty is declined. We'll take the result of the play.
Richmond Webb.
You have to suck the defensive lineman upfield. Richmond Webb, the left tackle, he's the one that ends up being downfield. And there he is. He just bumps the defender up the field. You take a look. Here he is downfield. A little bit too early, a little bit too aggressive. Kitna has to throw the ball away because the block that Richmond Webb made threw him right into Corey Dillon.
And that was Simeon Rice who made the play, really. He's the one who grabbed Corey Dillon. And the blitz comes. And Brad St. Louis tries another one-hander and can't make that catch either. You got to get St. Louis getting 2 hands out there.
There's a reason they list him on the depth chart as a snapper. And they put the tight end second.
Doesn't he snap with 2 hands?
He does snap with 2 hands. He can throw with 2 hands, but
right.
He can't catch with 2 hands. And he won't even make an attempt to put 2 hands out there. He's the one-handed tight end.
He has never caught a pass in his career. Called into action today because of the injury, the knee injury to Tony McGee. And here comes the blitz again. And Kitna just has to throw it away. Incomplete. He just bailed on this one. It looked like he was reluctant to hang in there and take any kind of hit.
When you see the blitz coming off the left side, you know you may have to bail right. And here comes Brooks. He's going to come in on the blitz. And Jackson, Dexter Jackson, right now, boom. Get out of there. Go to the right side. Get moving. Give your wide receivers a chance to see you scramble and make a play.
And so Neil Rackers will come on and attempt to close the gap to a touchdown again. 41-yarder. You see he's 3 of 9 from 40 plus. And this time Rackers caroms it off the upright, and it's good. And Rackers gets off to Schneid. It's 13-6. Tampa Bay over Cincinnati. What did I call that? A carome? He caromed it off that upright, and Rackers gets back into business.
Yeah, just a little kiss off the inside. I think he called it when he was in the huddle.
Nice little bank shot. Banks are open.
I'm going to send this one off the right upright, boys, through. Gets the Bengals within a touchdown, so they got a chance.
Well, last week against Cleveland, he hit the upright. He didn't get that fortuitous bounce. They went out the other way, and the 47-yarder was no good. This time from 41, it is good. And now with 4:29 left, the Buccaneers are up protecting against an onside kick.
Take a look. You've got all the guys lined up on the right side. You've got the Tampa Bay guys lined up on the bottom. And what they're going to try to do, the Tampa guys are going to try to block the outside 4 or 5 guys and let the man behind.
When he kicks it deep, I figured he would.
Deception.
And Frank Murphy downs it in the end zone. Yeah, with 3 timeouts left and 4:39 or 4:23 now to play, you're going to let your defense try and do it. And they have been doing it pretty good so far. Coming up next in the second part of our doubleheader, Marshall Faulk and the high-powered Rams will look to rebound from last week's loss to the Bucs when they take on Chris Chandler and a Falcon team trying to stay in the playoff race. A full day of NFL action continues next on Fox. And now, Cincinnati has hung around. They still have a chance. They're down by 7. 3 timeouts left. 4:23 to go. Go on the ground, and this is all stop, and he's bottled up for a gain of 1. And I don't know that the Bengals need to use their timeouts yet. Let the thing run down for a little bit.
You still got a lot of time. You want to save those timeouts for your offense. Defensively, you can get them 3 and out. You give your team a chance to get the ball back with a little bit more than 2 minutes remaining. Tampa's going to keep this on the ground. They want to start running a little bit of clock off. They believe that they can run the ball and get a first down.
Still haven't really gotten over the hump in rushing the football. Just 69 yards today. Coming in, averaged 82 a game. And this may hurt as Oliver Gibson, he got the early start, and that could hurt the Bengals. This is the last time when you want to create a penalty like that. And we'll see if he was drawn off or if he just went on his own accord. Gibson, he's in there trying to make a case. We'll see how well he argued.
Encroachment.
Not very well.
Number 99 defense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it remains second down.
Oliver Gibson crying about the fact there may be a little bit movement, a butt drop out of Jeff Christie, or maybe Christie's playing a little bit with the football. There's Gibson right here. He's right across from the center, but there was nobody moved there. There wasn't even a head bob out of Brad Johnson.
Well, that's a bad time to get an early start. Took a 2nd down and 9 and turned it into a 2nd and 4. Fourth down on the draw. He is bottled up for no gain. And Gibson is in the bottom of that pile along with Vaughn Booker.
I'm a little more aggressive than most. What I think Dungy should do here, you run a reverse. You start the action, you fake to Warwick Dunn going up the middle, you hand the ball off to Keyshawn coming around out of the slot, take him around the right side. Let your playmaker, the guy that believes he's the key man with the Tampa Bay Bucs, you let him make the play.
Now, there's a reason you're up here.
And not on the sideline.
That's right. 3rd and 4. Johnson is sacked. Geo Spikes is in there. Justin Smith was in there. And the crowd, that 12th man, came to play on this 3rd down. And that's Renard Wilson who made the sack. And we'll take a break right now. Cincinnati Bengals still in it. Warren Sapp and the Buccaneer defense are going to have to make a huge stand here at the end of the ball game, because it was a 3-and-out series. Even with a 5-yard penalty, the Buccaneers not able to get anything going. Now they have to punt the football.
And Warren Sapp's used to having a good running game and used to watching that running game take time off the clock. It's not happening today.
And Mark Royals gets a good punt, and Loosman Zada takes it up on his own sideline and gets it up to the 34-yard line. That's where he's forced out of bounds. Fox tonight, catch a new night of your Sunday favorites, starting with King of the Hill, The Simpsons, Malkin in the Middle, and The X-Files. That's tonight at 7:30, 6:30 Central, Sunday's best, only on Fox. So the Bengals need a touchdown as they go 1st and 10 from their own 36-yard line. John Kitna still at the helm. Kitna throws it outside, and that's complete to Ron Dugans. And the Bengals will try to get another play off before the 2-minute warning as they go right to the line in the hurry up. And they've got plenty of time with the 2 timeouts that they still have.
And what they didn't do in the first half in their 2-minute drill, they didn't go downfield. You need to go downfield in the middle of the field.
And this is complete for the first down. Peter Warwick makes the catch, and Kitna will do just as well to let it run down to the 2-minute warning. And that is exactly what he does, and we'll take a break. 2 minutes left to go. Cincinnati with the ball, trailing by 7. Bengals defense set them up for this game-winning or attempting tying drive as they stopped 2 running plays cold, and then on 3rd down they got the sack. And now they're back on offense, and they hand it off to Corey Dillon, and Dillon takes it over to the left side, and he picks up 7 yards into Buccaneer territory. Bengals with 2 timeouts and 1:40 to go. Kitna throws it outside, incomplete. Peter Warwick dropped that one. And it might be just as well, because I don't think he was going to have the first down, and I know he wasn't going to be able to get out of bounds.
He was coming back toward his own line of scrimmage, and he wouldn't have gotten out of bounds. What he needs to do is get downfield. You need to go downfield. Go downfield in the middle. You have 2 timeouts. Go downfield, 15-yard outs. Run deep ins across the middle. You've got to give John Kitna a chance to throw the ball downfield.
3rd down and 2. And they do throw it over the middle, complete to Warwick for the first down. The Bengals go to the hurry up, conserving the timeouts. Kitna throws it down the field, and there was some contact, and now the flag is thrown as Lynch ran into Chad Johnson. And this should be an illegal contact, if not a pass interference.
Took a little time to dig that one out of the pocket. We saw no flag for 3 seconds after the play. Suddenly a flag came down.
Holding. Number 21 defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. It's an automatic first down.
Johnny Abraham on the call. Chad Johnson, he's running this pass pattern. It's just a vertical pattern. He just gets dragged down. Abraham just drags him down. Tries to get out of the way and throws him down onto the turf. I think the referee and the officials were trying to make a distinction on whether that ball was overthrown. But when a defensive holding call is called, that's an automatic first down.
It's 1st and 10 from the 30. Kitna underneath to Bennett. And Bennett is wrapped up by Brooks. And with the clock winding down near to a minute, the Bengals decide to keep rolling. And now they take the timeout as Kitna decided didn't like what he had and used the timeout. The Bengals now with 1 timeout left They're 2nd and 4, and they need a touchdown. Here's your game summary. You see Brad Johnson, a pretty good day for him. And Rondé Barber, the hero for the Buccaneers. The only touchdown in the game came off of that blocked punt that Rondé Barber had in the 2nd quarter.
And John Kitten and the Cincinnati Bengal offense, the first drive of the game, they put something together, and it looks like the last drive of the game, they're going to be able to put something together.
This drive started at their own 36. You look at the Central Division standings, and for Cincinnati to hold on to any hope for this season, they've got to pull the win out here today.
And Tennessee looks like they're going to move to 5-6, and Cleveland's going to drop to 6-5 because Tennessee has a 31-7 lead in the 4th quarter.
See Chicago up in the right-hand top part of your screen has taken over and gone ahead of Detroit. 2nd down and 4. Buccaneers show the blitz. And they bring it. And the ball is batted. Kittner couldn't get it out of there. Derek Brooks, blitzing linebacker, put his hands up.
Once they see Kittner making the commitment to the pass, here's the corner coming in. He looks like the creeper on the punt. He's coming in. They're going to make it. He's trying to get it out there quick. But Kittner doesn't get it over the hands, the outstretched hands of the defenders.
It's Brian Kelly coming in from the corner to make the blitz. Here it is, 3rd down. Blitz again. Kittner throws it outside, complete.
I disagree offensively. You need a touchdown. You're throwing these short pass patterns. You just use your final timeout. You need to get the ball into the end zone. These little 3-yard outs, they just aren't doing it for me, Ray. This passing attack that the Cincinnati Bengals are running in this final 2-minute drill, there's no imagination to it, no innovation. Are you worried about the pressure on your quarterback? Well, if you are, you got to find a way to get the ball to your wide receivers.
You see the NFC Central Division standing. Chicago moved ahead of Detroit 13-10 in the 4th quarter there. And Tampa Bay would love to see the Bears lose that one, but they've got their hands full right here. This coming up play is going to be the biggest play of the day as the Bengals face a 4th down and a long 3 to keep this thing alive. You see they haven't been successful on 4th downs this year, just 1 of 10. But if they ever needed one, this is it.
And it's 4th and 3. I'd like to see them run a 10-yard route in the middle of the field.
Warwick in motion. Play action. Kittner, complete. 1st down. He got that ball to Darnay Scott. Got the 1st down, but they have no timeouts. And Kittner spikes it and stops the clock with 37 seconds left. Peter Warwick did a nice job of finding that little soft spot.
Peter Warwick coming in motion. He's going back and forth. Darnay Scott, Chad Johnson with the catch.
No, actually, that's Darnay Scott.
Yeah, Darnay Scott comes in with the catch. Just finds a little void in the zone in between the linebackers and the safeties. Peter Warwick running a deep route, trying to take the safety in the corner with him. And Darnay Scott, the veteran, with the key reception.
Kittner to the end zone. Batted away at the last second. Brian Kelly with a big defensive play. Boy, it looked like Chad Johnson was open for a second.
That ball seemed to flutter in the air forever. That ball took such a long time to get out there. The wide receiver was open. Chad Johnson just running that corner route. Doesn't get bumped. And that ball's just floating, floating, floating. Gets tipped away at the last moment by Kelly.
I think Lynch might have had a shot at it too.
And Lynch shouldn't be able to get over in coverage that quickly with this short of the field. But that ball was thrown late and floated a little bit too long.
3rd and 10. Kittner complete to Peter Warwick. And now the race is on for the Bengals to get down and down the football. They have no timeouts.
They should be able to clock this one.
And they do. And they have 15 seconds left. They're 1st and goal at the 6-yard line.
And they'll have at least 3 plays to get a chance at a touchdown. But where'd they attack? Where have I been asking them to attack? The middle of the field. Don't go out to the perimeter on 3-yard routes. Here, Kitna finds Peter Warwick. Out in the middle, running the little route going toward the outside. Here he is in the slot. You see him running downfield. He gets open, gets the first down. They get the ball down, gives them Cincinnati. They get 3 plays to score a touchdown.
Kitna. Touchdown. Corey Dillon.
Oh, boy. Feliz Navidad on that call. I never thought he got into the end zone, but they called it a touchdown.
Well, if it's going to be reviewed, it would have to be a booth review as we're in the last 2 minutes.
And even with no time, if there's no time on the clock, they would still be allowed in regulation to kick the extra point. And the referee must have saw the ball break the goal line right when threw the ball just over a little bit. Dillon with great effort.
Boy, it's hard to tell from that angle. And I'm thinking that we're going to take a look at this upstairs.
And again, attacking the middle of the defense. Going outside so early. There they are. Run a little 8-yard route. Get him into the middle. And Corey Dillon gets into the end zone.
Or does he?
Until the officials tell me that he isn't in the end zone.
I'm
going to assume the fact that he is in the end zone.
Well, you need indisputable visual evidence to overturn.
Haven't seen much of any evidence that says you can overturn this.
Well, Tom White's going to take a look at it. And that last replay you saw when Dillon went down, it appeared the ball was on the goal line.
They're reviewing the play to see if the ball broke the plane of the goal line.
I don't think this one, if they wouldn't have called this a touchdown, I don't think they could have reviewed this one and said it was a touchdown. I just don't think the camera angles, from what we can see, will tell you one way or another whether this is or is not a touchdown. Now the ball's tucked into his left arm. There's the ball. Now where does it land? His knees are down, and then he lands. He's kind of moving sideways.
I think he lands right on the goal line.
And if he lands on the goal line, it's a tutty.
Right here.
Let's see.
When he goes down right there, before he moved the ball, boy, it's so hard to tell.
Yeah, because he had it tucked into his midsection. You see how he's got it in the midsection? Then when he goes down, then it suddenly goes over when he makes that half turn.
We can back that last one up a little bit. I think when he hits the ground, he lands on the goal line.
It's like a little half flop into the end zone once he hits the ground. There's the balls in the left hand. You see him jutted out there. Here he is, lands. Oh, boy, I'm telling you.
That is so close.
Yeah.
It's so hard to see.
So close, so hard to see. We don't have that view right down the goal line to see where that left arm is at.
And what's going on out on the field, the Bengal offense is out there because in case they overturn this, they're going to be out there to take another shot at it. They've got 8 seconds left, and the clock would start on the ready. And so that offense is ready to go to take another shot if they have to.
And Dick LeBeau has the troops ready to go with the play from the 1-2 yard line. Or the 1 yard. What? It'd be down on the 6-inch line.
Yeah,
do you run? Do you run or do you pass the ball?
Well, you have Corey Dillon.
Well, I think if you pass
a good roll of the dice, I think.
If you pass the ball, you'd have 2 plays.
Right.
If you run the ball,
shots.
you have the 1.
Let's hear what Tom White has to say, and I think it's just an inconclusive view.
The ruling on the field stands. It's a touchdown. There's nothing in the replay system that allows us to change this. Inconclusive.
I think they made the call they had to make. I mean, you need indisputable evidence, visual evidence, to overturn a call. Call was touchdown. Touchdown it is. And if Rackers can make this extra point, we're looking at overtime here.
Well, Christmas came early for the Cincinnati Bengals, as one of the officials said Feliz Navidad to Corey Dillon, and they gave him the touchdown. That's all that matters.
Rackers ties it up with 8 seconds left. Tampa Bay was never able to throw the knockout punch.
And Brad Johnson and Keyshawn Johnson, they both warned us how this is a tough game. We're going to play an AFC opponent. It's not easy to get up for an AFC opponent. So we might be walking into a hornet's nest here in Cincinnati playing the Bengals just because you don't know a whole lot about them. And you never know what type of emotion they're going to be able to muster up after a tough Monday night game. And for the better part of the whole day, Tampa Bay has been on cruise control. The only offensive touchdown scored by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today, I can't even say offensive touchdown. The only touchdown scored was on a block punt by Rondé Barber, and Yoder picks it up at the 10 and scoots into the end zone. Otherwise, the offense has been inefficient.
That was a great drive by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or excuse me, by the Cincinnati Bengals to pull this thing out.
And early on, I thought they were going to the flat too much. Short routes, 3-yard, 5-yard routes. When they started moving the ball in the middle, the more urgent, the more sense of urgency became more important. They got the ball into the middle of the field and gained serious yardage.
And now the whistle is blown, and they may have to kick this thing over. I don't think, well, now there's a flag down. Tom White back there threw a flag. There's another flag now thrown up on the other end of the field.
Play game. Offense. Put the ball in play before the whistle was blown. 5 yards. Free kick.
Well, that's the Rackers kicked the ball before he was given permission to kick the football.
8 seconds.
And so there'll be 8 seconds put back on the clock, and he'll have to kick it from his own 25.
He's going to worm burn this kick right on top of the grass down. I'm moving my wedge line up to about the 40, 45-yard line, hoping they can cut it off and just go down and call a timeout. You know, tell the official, hey, I'm just going down when I get the ball, blow the play dead. And they will. If you grab it and you submit. The Cincinnati bench signaling the kicker to kick it deep. Don't worm burn it, kick it deep.
And Rackers does. And Murphy, Rabi Abdullah, he takes it and gets it out up to the 43-yard line. The clock stops with 1 second left. You see the overtime record all time, and then for the season the Buccaneers 0-1 as they lost to Tennessee in OT, and the Bengals, this is their first foray into an extra stanza. Hey, like that.
Yep, I love that.
Thank you.
Both teams pretty good in overtime. Brad Johnson gets one shot, throw the ball close to the end zone.
Do you do that, or do you just kneel down?
No, I got to take a chance right now. I have to. You send 3 receivers out to one side, hope for a tip ball. This is an offensive play. It's a chance for you to win the game.
Maybe get a pass interference, have a chance to
kick a field goal.
Or maybe you get sacked.
Maybe you don't protect your quarterback and he never gets a chance to fire the ball with only 3 men rushing.
Bernard Wilson makes the sack, and we are headed to overtime here in Cincinnati. And you see the rules. A coin toss will determine who gets the first possession. It's a 1 15-minute quarter. Each team gets 2 timeouts. All replays initiated from the booth, and it's sudden death. First team to score wins.
Sudden death. A lot of effort. 4 quarters of football and a little extra. One team will go home happy. The other team discouraged.
Both defenses have played very well today. You look at just the total yardage. Tampa Bay with 237 total yards, Cincinnati with 202, and it's, I mean, the only touchdown except for that last one by Corey Dillon came on special teams. So it's been a defensive struggle back and forth throughout.
And the defense have stepped up to the plate as it was billed. Number 9, number 10, they've gone at it. It's been a physical game. Both of these teams, they're going to be in the cold tub. They'll be in that ice tub, healing all the bruises and the breaks after this one.
Coming up next, Rams take on the Falcons. A big NFC West, or excuse me, NFC West matchup. So stick around for that, and we'll have our overtime period coming up. We're going to go for the coin toss here momentarily, and that really determines a lot as far as the outcome of the ball game. Let's take a listen and see what happens here with the coin toss as the Bengal captains are now making their way out to the middle of the field.
A lot of pressure on Lynch. Make the right call.
Visiting team gets to make the call. Heads or tails.
All right, well, we now have overtime. In overtime, timing will be the same as the fourth quarter of the ball game. Each team gets 2 timeouts during overtime, and the replay challenges come from the replay booth for the overtime. You're the visiting team. This is heads. That's tails. Tails, heads. Who's going to call it? You call heads? Back up a little bit, gentlemen. He calls heads. He calls heads. Heads it is. You've won it. Stay here. Come on over here. Tampa Bay on this side. Tampa Bay has won the toss.
Buccaneers
elected to receive. Good game, gentlemen.
Win the toss, and they'll get the first crack on offense. We've got overtime here at Paul Brown Stadium. It's 13-13 at the end of regulation. And we are headed to overtime here in Cincinnati as the Bengals score the last 10 points to tie it up 13-13. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have won the toss, and they'll get to start on offense in this sudden death period. You see the average starting position fairly equal on the afternoon, and Neil Rackers has it set, and we're ready to start our sudden death overtime period, and here we go. And Rackers line drives it. It's picked up by Frank Murphy. And Murphy stays alive on the outside, tries to cut back, nothing there, and he'll take it out to the 37-yard line. That's where Adrian Ross makes the play. Let's go down to our sideline reporter for a report. Here's Dan Horde.
All right, Ray, we know the Bucs have historically struggled under chilly conditions. Well, they can't blame bad weather for squandering their lead today. We mounted a thermometer here at Paul Brown Stadium. The temperature's still in the mid-50s on December 2nd. So while the Bucs have been cold in the fourth quarter, the temperature has not been. Back to you.
Thank you, Dan. And balmy 55. Game time temperature was 51. Brad Johnson to the air to start it out, dumps it underneath, and that's Warwick Dunn. Dunn picks up 4 yards.
And silly me, I forgot my suntan lotion.
Yeah. Shame on you.
A balmy 55 degrees.
Not bad for, what are we, December 3rd here today? Or 2nd? December 2nd, I'm ahead of myself, but I'll tell you what else hasn't been bad is Brad Johnson. 22 of 28 on the day, 196 yards. And no interceptions. He just kind of dumped it down, and he's taken what the Bengal defense is giving him. Where to go with it this time, and Johnson looks it over the middle, and a big hit coming in on Dave Moore.
The one armor looks like he knocked himself out.
Yeah, he doesn't know where he is right now.
He's in La La Land.
This is a huge hit from Juwan Armour. So you want to play football, listen to this.
Oh, he's out on his feet. He gave it the half turn and it looked like he was going down if a teammate didn't come help him.
Yeah, and Armour is being tended to on the football field, and that was a heck of a shot. Dave Moore seems to be fine. Juwan Armour basically knocked himself out. We'll knock ourselves out. Overtime, 13-all here in Cincinnati. Juwan Armour might have thought he was back in Barcelona for a second. That's where he played NFL Europe this past fall, or actually this past spring. But here's another look at this hit. This is a huge hit from Armour.
Johnson leads Dave Moore right into the middle. And Armour comes in and just lays the shot. Corey Hall gets to a dazed Armour and helps him get down to the ground. But they're going to keep Juwan Armour on the bench for a little bit and let him get his wits back about him.
Yeah, got him back. He's trying to get the crowd into it. A big hit like that will get the crowd into it. 3rd down and 7. Johnson throws it outside to Keyshawn Johnson, and he gets the first down and stays inbounds and keeps it alive into Bengal territory. 12 yards on the play. Chris Carter and Kevin Kaesvaharn make the tackle.
Kaesvaharn is in great coverage, but Johnson moves right in front of him when the ball is thrown. He gets into Kaesvaharn's running way. How he's going to defend Keyshawn Johnson, he comes down with the catch. When Kaesvaharn becomes a veteran, he's going to be able to close in front and help make that play. But Johnson saved Brant Johnson of a touchdown there. Of an interception, I should say.
1st and 10. Buccaneers go to the ground. Warrick Dunn. Nowhere to go. He runs right into Steve Foley.
Since he's played tough defense today, Foley making big plays. Comes in, fights off a block of Dave Moore, comes and makes a play. But he's excited. He's happy. That defense has kept them in. Cincinnati's defense kept them in the game all day. Their offense responds in the first and the last possession of the day. And Tampa's rush average, 2.3. Oh, we got
Juwan Armour back into the lineup for the Bengals. Johnson to throw over the middle, complete. And that's his tight end, Dave Moore. And this is a route that they run constantly due to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where they run over the middle at a couple of different levels, and then they have the fullback out there to dump it to.
And they're gonna run Dave Moore deep. They're gonna run shallow with Keyshawn, and an all-stop comes over, so they've got 3 receivers in an area. They're just trying to disperse everyone. And Dave Moore, the tight end, the deep route, is the one that's open on that play. Usually it's Mike Allstott they want to go to.
Well, Brad Johnson has the option to hit any one of the 3.
Here they are on the spaghetti routes up there.
1st and 10, Warrick Dunn with a cutback. And Dunn is cut down. Loss on the play. Steve Foley again with a stop. And that's 2 tackles for a loss in the last 3 plays for Foley.
The last play by Dave Moore that he caught, and what they try to do is they go deep. Keyshawn comes shallow. He'll make it look like he's going to the flat, then he comes in. This is the route they hit on the last play. They just try to confuse the defense, try to show them a look and get different levels, wondering who's going to jump on what route.
2nd down, 11 blitz. Johnson underneath to the other Johnson. It's Johnson to Johnson again. Keyshawn makes the catch, and it's inside the 30-yard line, and they are now within Martin Grammatica's range.
Martin Gramatica regains his confidence today. He had 1 miss, 2 of 3 today, but if they're going to have the game come down to the end, they have a lot of faith, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Martin Gramatica.
The Buccaneers use one of their 2 overtime timeouts as they face a 3rd down and 3 from just inside the Bengal 30-yard line. You see the offensive leaders today. Keyshawn Johnson, 7 catches, 88 yards. And not a bad day either for Brad Johnson.
Yeah, Brad Johnson's at about 78.5% completion ratio, just under 80%. What a great day. And he's doing the simple things. He's finding the receiver that's open, and he's playing catch, which is the way it should be when you're a quarterback going to your receivers.
Don't forget, coming up next, it's the Rams and the Falcons. Stay tuned. A full day of NFL action here on Fox. We are in overtime here in Cincinnati. Opening drive of OT, and the Buccaneers started at their own 37. This will be play number 8 of the drive. 3rd and 3. Blitz comes. Brad Johnson is sacked, and he's out of field goal range. Wow. Brian Simmons.
Don't understand it. Don't understand dropping back the pass. It's got to be a quick route. If you're going to run it, you get sacked, you get taken out of an opportunity to win the game. And here's Simmons, uncovered, work done. Once he sees the blitz, needs to step up. He needs to make that little adjustment. He can't get to Simmons in time. Simmons times it perfectly. Earlier in the day, he was called offsides. But he timed it perfectly, got in, made the sack, saved the game for the Cincinnati Bengals possibly.
6th sack of the day for the Bengals. And they forced the punt. Now the whistle blows and the flag is down before the snap got underway.
Delay of game.
And it's a delay of game
5-yard penalty
against the Buccaneers. And if I'm the Bengals, I decline it. You don't want to give Mark Royals any more room to try and pooch one inside.
Don't give him that little fine angle to get to the corner of that pylon about 10 and in.
Cincinnati has declined the delay of game. 4th down.
Hey, did you ever play this game before?
Yeah, I've seen it a few times.
All those tricks that punt team used to give themselves a little bit more yardage, better angles.
Pushmanzada back to return the punt, but Royals will either aim for the corner or hang it high. And he does kick it towards the corner, and this is a good punt. And it'll be down all the way inside the 5, down to the 4-yard line. Fox tonight, catch a new night of your Sunday favorites, starting with King of the Hill, The Simpsons, Malcolm in the Middle, and The X-Files. It's all coming up tonight, beginning at 7:30, 6:30 Central. Sunday's best, only on Fox. So John Kitna has a long way to go to get something going here, but the last drive the Bengals had, they moved down the field and scored the touchdown when they needed to force the overtime.
If Cincinnati could have gotten the ball back at about the 20-yard line, I would have loved to see them come out in the 2-minute drill and move the ball down the field, because they did it effectively at the end of the game.
Corey Dillon fumbles the football, and it's recovered by Lynch. And John Lynch, who has made 3 game-saving plays this year, makes another one. He clinched the victory last week against St. Louis with that interception. He also did it earlier in the year against Tennessee and also against Dallas. 3 game-winning plays, make it 4 now for John Lynch.
And you're going to give the ball to your horse, Corey Dillon, and you're going to expect him to tote the rock. Here he is. He gets the ball. 2 lead blockers coming through. Lynch free, puts his hand on the ball.
Lynch forces the fumble and recovers the fumble. How about that?
Great play out of John Lynch. You never know where he's going to be. He could be on the line of scrimmage. He could be playing the linebacker position. He could be coming from deep, playing one of the halves in coverage. But here he is on the line of scrimmage, unblocked, puts his hand on the play, forces the fumble.
Cincinnati.
The Bengals use a timeout to try and ice Martin Gramatica, who shanked a 26-yarder last week against St. Louis. And this one's going to be pretty much no more than an extra point. Probably be a 21-yard field goal attempt.
And what great team defense. 3 guys coming in unencumbered. One guy brackets the inside, the other brackets the outside, and there's John Lynch coming in the middle to make the play. That's team defense. You know exactly where you fit. You allow the uncovered man in your game plan to come in and recover, and there he is. John Lynch makes the play. He's trying to scoot into the end zone. He's going for the trifecta.
That's team defense, and John Lynch is a one-man team. that was one. And he's been making the play for this defense and for this football team all year long. And now Gramatica will try to ice it away for the Buccaneers. He's 2 of 4 on the day. He's been good from 38 and 48. He's missed from 43 and 51. And here he goes with the game on the line. 21 yards, and it's over. Tony Dungy and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers run that record now to 6-5 with a 16-13 overtime win over the Cincinnati Bengals. This is Ray Bentley for John Yurkovich saying so long from Cincinnati, where the final score is Tampa Bay 16, Cincinnati 13. Be sure to stay tuned to Fox Sports for the second game of our doubleheader. St. Louis at Atlanta right after these messages. For more information on today's game and the latest NFL news, log on to foxsports.com, the official sports site of the internet. Gramatica in overtime wins it with the field goal.
Fox Sports thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League.